ほら、ルフィ、今一緒に海賊になる仲間を探してるんだ。
Hello guys, welcome to my channel The Wandering Zoro, your go-to destination for anime-related content. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest videos. In today's video, we're going to be diving into this series. So be sure to stick around until the end. And let's get started. The sun was at its peak, the light shinned down from it onto the park. But our story starts not there, but with a group of children standing against one lone child, shaking in fear, tears in his eyes, protecting a boy the same age, crying behind him. Izuku, why are you being so mean, guys? He did nothing wrong, so leave her alone, or I'll stop you myself. He shouted, holding his fists up as the kids in front of them activated their quirks. The one with spiky hair created explosions in his palm, while a girl identical to Izuku began to glow green and pounded her fist into her palm. You want to play hero? How you can't be one without a quirk, Deku? Katsuki said, smirking cruelly at Izuku, who gasped and took a step back in fear of the bullies who charged at him together and beat him up. Time skip. Izuku lay on the ground, covered in injuries. Here's the sad truth. All men are not created equal. When I was 4 years old, I learned that some kids have more powers than others. Time skip. But I won't let that hold me back. If anything, it pushes me to do better. An older Izuku could be seen running down the street. He stopped at a crossing light, waiting for it to turn green. When it did, Izuku sprinted across the road. He ran under a bunch of sakura trees till he saw a villain attack and smiled, stopping at the scene. Izuku. Haha, that's one huge supervillain. Wow, the pro hero's death arm and backdraft. A random civilian spoke out loud in awe of the two pros. They were keeping the civilians at a distance and protecting them from the dangers of the fight. Kamui Woods was fighting the giant villain, swinging from building to avoid the villain's attacks. Izuku started fanboying, a bright smile on his face. Izuku, it's Kamui Woods. He may be new, but he's making a big name for himself. The old man next to him noticed the smile on Izuku's face and smirked. One look of that dopey grin on your face, and I know what you are, a fanboy. This made Izuku embarrassed, so looking away, he smiled sheepishly, maybe a little, he mumbled as Raven smirked. Sure, just a little, she teased, making him blush bright red. When Kamui Wood was about to be brought down, he called out his ultimate move. Izuku, the preemptive. Kamui binding. Lacquered chain prison. Kamui was about to unleash his attack when another new pro hero arrived at the scene. She was a giant woman with a purple and skin-tight suit. Canyon Cannon. She shouted high, kicking the villain, knocking him unconsciousness and causing everyone to freeze in shock. Kamui, huh? The cameramen all began taking photos. Body shot, body shot, body shot, they chanted. Unknown character. A piece of cake for the world's next hottest hero. Hi there, everyone, I'm MT Lady. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, she said, sticking her butt out in a pose and winking. The cameramen all began taking photos of her. Body shot, body shot, body shot, while Izuku looked down with a blush. MT Lady was quite new, but she was one of his pro hero crushes. Now, he wasn't a pervert by any standards, however, he was still a young man, and she is pretty. Time skip to Adler Junior High. Teacher. So, as third-year students, it's time to start thinking seriously about what you want to do with your lives now. I could pass out some career aptitude requests, but everyone began to activate their quirk. Teacher, why bother? I know you all want to enter the hero track, he said, throwing the papers in the air as everyone cheered behind him. Katsuki, hey teach, don't lump us in with this bunch of losers. We're the real deal, but these losers would be lucky to end up as sidekicks for some busted-up D-lister. Everyone. You think you're better than us, Katsuki. Katsuki. Well, I'm just telling the truth, you extras. We aced all the mock tests. We're the only one in this school able to get into UA, and then we'll take down All Might and be the richest hero of all time. People all across the world will know who we are, and it'll all start at UA High, he stated with too much pride as he and Izumi agreed with him, all while smirking confidently. Teacher, how you've got impressive test results. Maybe you three will get into UA. Oh, yeah, Yagi, don't you want to go to UA too? The teacher smirked as the three froze, and the class looked at Izuku It was all quiet as he hid his head in his arms. Everyone, ha 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 ha. Random, Yagi right. Random, you can't get into UA without a quirk. Izuku, they changed that rule, I could be the first one. He said, trying to convince them, but suddenly his desk exploded and he was sent into the wall behind him. Katsuki, listen up, Deku, you're even worse than these bunch of rejects you quirkless wannabe you think they'd have you when they could have us instead. Izuku, so why can't you guys just leave me alone? He asked, leaning against the wall behind him. I'm not trying to compete against you or anything. He then looked down. It's always been my dream to go into UA and be a hero. I may not have a quirk, but I can still try, can't I? He asked, causing them to get angry at him. Izumi, you'd never be able to stand with the best of the best. You'd die in the exams, defenseless Izuku. This school is already trash. Do you want really to embarrass it more by failing so hard? Random, loser. Random, quirkless. Random, pathetic. Izuku looked down, saddened. Time skip. Izuku was packing his things and taking out his phone. He found the incident with MT Lady and Kimui Woods on the news. Izuku, he looks like I got some more notes to write. He chuckled to himself, holding up his notebook. When it was snatched away, looking up, he found Bakugo, his sister, and their entourage smirking at him. Katsuki, I don't know what you think you're doing, Deku, but we ain't done yet. He told him with a glare. Izumi, you still think taking notes like a stalker will help you become a hero? The group laughed at Izuku before Katsuki exploded the book in between his hands. Izuku-wa. Katsuki then threw it out the window. Izuku-wa. Katsuki then placed his hand on Izuku's shoulder, causing some smoke to come out as he burned the uniform and hurt the boy's shoulder. Take some advice, and don't even think about applying. He pushed Izuku back, making him trip and fall to the ground. Izumi. Pathetic Izuku, neither dad nor mom loves you. It's a wonder you still believe you'll become a hero. They began walking away when on the way out, Izumi stopped at the door. Izumi, you know, Deku, there might be a way for you to get a quirk. She looked back to Izuku, who looked at her with a small glimmer of hope in his eyes. Izumi, take a swan dive off the roof and pray for a quirk in your next life. Izuku's eyes widened, but they quickly closed. Small tears fell out of his eyes. Time skip. Izuku walked to the back of the school, finding his notebook in a pond with fish biting on his book. Izuku, stupid idiot, what if I'd really jump? What would you do then? Sigh, I wonder if this will ever end. He said, taking his book out of the water while gritting his teeth in anguish and staring at his book. Stupid idiots. Flashback. Izuku, mum, hurry. The kids Izumi and Izuku slid into the kitchen of his home, finding their mum washing some dishes. They ran to her. Izumi, it's computer time, she shouted. Inko already. The three then went to the computer room. Izuku sat on the big chair in his room with Izumi on his lap while his mom put the video on. Izuku, faster, come on. He hugged his sister and exited. Inko, geez, I think you've added 10,000 views to this one yourself, Izuku. I don't know why you two like it. I think it's scary. She told them to put the video on, and huge smiles found themselves on their faces. The video we loved was an old disaster footage from a long time ago, but more importantly, it was the debut of the greatest hero the world has ever known. Izuku's smile brightened as he watched All Might save everyone, his eyes shining brightly watching it. Izuku, he's the coolest in the universe, and once I get my quirk, I'm going to be a hero, just like him, ha 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 ha. Time skip. Sorry, kid, it's not going to happen. Izuku's face went as pale as a ghost from the shock of hearing that, dropping his toy in the process, while Izumi looked at him worriedly. Inko, oh dear, is something wrong? Then, I mean, everyone else's age has been able to use some kind of ability. Doctor, my records say you're a fourth-generation quirk user. What powers do you and the boy's father have? Inko, I have a powerful telekinetic quirk, and my husband has immense super strength, she said, bringing the toy into her hand. Doctor, the boy should have gotten his quirk a while ago, but viewing his x-rays, I don't think it's going to happen. You see, when superpowers first began appearing, there were many research studies conducted, and doctors discovered a connection between the bones of a person's foot and the likelihood of them acquiring a quirk. People with powers have one joint in their pinky toe. Their powers evolved to a more stream-like version of a human form. You can see here that your son has 2 joints in his pinky, like roughly 20% of the population. These days, based on the research available, it's safe to say that your son isn't going to develop a quirk. It was currently nighttime and raining. The video could be heard playing in the background. Inko and Izumi stood in front of the door. The room was dark. All that illuminated, it was the laptop screen. The big chair in front of it hid little Izuku's body as the 2 Yagi girls stared at the chair. Izuku. See that, Mom? Izumi? There's always a smile on his face, no matter how bad things get. Inko took a step forward, hearing her son's voice, and Izumi teared up. Izuku. No matter how bad things get, he never gives up. Izuku's voice was broken. All you could hear was despair and heartache in his voice. And when he turned, revealing his destroyed expression, Inko felt her heart break and covered her mouth with tears that welled up as she collapsed, hugging Izuku, who carried a broken smile on his face as he pointed shakily to the screen. Izuku, can I be a hero, too? He asked his dear mother. She walked to him and collapsed, hugging her baby. Inko, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Izuku. I wish things were different. Tears continued falling down his eyes as Izumi ran to hug him as well. Mom, that's not what I needed you to say. Couldn't you see my world was crumbling? There was only one thing I wanted to hear. End of flashback. I made a vow that day that no matter what anyone else thinks, I have to believe in myself, and I'll keep smiling just like him. Izuku walked under a bridge laughing like All Might before hearing a strange noise behind him. He turned around, seeing something building up behind him, a large sludge-like villain. Izuku, a villain. He whimpered as it towered over him. You'll make a perfect skin suit for me to hide in. Kid Izuku ran away as it jumped over, enveloping him in its green body and shoving itself forcefully down his throat. Sludge. Don't worry, I'm just taking over your body. It'll be easier for both of us. If you don't fight back, you'll feel better soon. Izuku's thoughts. I can't breath. Sludge. Thanks for the help, kid. You're my hero, kid. I didn't know he was in the city. I gotta get out of here fast before he tracks me down. Izuku thoughts. My body's getting weak. I think I'm gonna die. Suddenly, the manhole cover flew off, and from it emerged a large man. All Might. Fear not, citizen, you're safe. Now that I'm here, that is. The villain sent an attack at him, but he ducked, dodging it, and charged forward, reeling his fist back. Texas smash. He roared, sending a gust of wind from his fist and blowing the villain apart. Izuku looked in shock at the giant of a man before him, and then he fainted. All Might, he whispered. Time skip. All Might was lightly slapping Izuku at high speed, waking him up. All Might. Hey, wake up, Izuku. Slowly wake up. Phew, thought I lost you there. Izuku slowly got up, and his face morphed into one of shock before he scooted back, screaming. Izuku. It's All Might, and he knows my name, but how? All Might. Oh, I read it in your notebook, cough, cough. Well, anyway, looks like you're all right. Sorry about that back there. You got caught up in my justicing. And although I have no idea what happened to the villain, I usually do keep civilians safe. It turns out the city sewer system is pretty hard to navigate. Anyway, you were a big help. I've captured the evildoer, he said, showing Izuku 2 soda bottles with the villain in them. Izuku thoughts. The most amazing hero in the entire world. All Might in front of me in the flesh. He looks so much cooler in person. Holy cow, I need to get his autograph. Where's my notebook? Izuku found his notebook and was about to ask the man to sign it when he found he already had caused him to scream in shock and begin bowing at high speeds. Grateful, thank you very much. This will be a family heirloom for generations to come. All Might, give a thumbs up. All Might. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must hand this villain to the police to deal with him. See you around, he said, crouching, about to jump away. Izuku. Hey, wait, you're leaving already? All Might. Pro heroes always have to be prepared for another villain to attack. I'm taking off. Thanks for your continued support, he shouted, leaping through the air when he felt something on his foot and turned back to see Izuku flailing through the air. All Might. Hey, let go. I love my fans, but this is too much, he shouted, trying to push Izuku off of his leg. Izuku. No way we're flying. If I let go now, I'll die. All Might then realized it. Oh, I guess you're right. I just have so many things to ask you. Please, All Might, you're my favorite hero of all time, he shouted at All Might, who took a moment before agreeing. Fine. Just close your mouth and eyes, he told Izuku, who did as told. All Might had a little vital fluid escape his mouth, and all this brat is wasting my time, he said to himself. Time skip. All Might landed on a random roof, with Izuku, who leaned on his knees for support, nearly toppling over and breathing heavily. He managed to speak. "I just saw my entire life flash before my eyes," he said himself. All Might. "All right, I must leave. Knock on the door, they'll be sure to let you in." Izuku, "Wait, please." All Might. "No, I don't have any time." Izuku. "I have to know." Memories of his past flashed through his mind. Izuku. "Can someone without a quirk become a hero like you?" He shouted, asking All Might, who stopped. All Might turned slightly, looking at Izuku, who had his eyes closed and looking down. All Might, "No." Izuku's eyes widened in shock, his pupils dilated, and he felt all his strength leave his body in seconds. "You cannot become a hero without a quirk." Tears began to grow in his eyes. It felt like his heart was torn out of his chest. After everything. After everything. Not even All Might himself believed he could become a hero. Izuku, "What?" All Might. "I'm sorry, young man, but I believe it's best you give up, for without any ability, you would be nothing more than a liability." All Might then jumped away, leaving the destroyed Izuku to fall to his knees broken. Meanwhile, somewhere in a town called Ko, in a mansion at night, a teen with brown hair and a perverted expression surrounded by females was sleeping. "Teen, melons," he said, squeezing the air, when suddenly a red circle glowed on his hand before he flew out, becoming a red circle. Suddenly a voice came out of the orb. Unknown character. "Finally, I'm free after so long. Ugh, I can't believe I had to work with this pervert, and because of him I'm a laughing stock. Oh, the humility. I've faced my rival is ashamed of me, so I will no longer farewell Issei. Hoodoo, I pray our paths never cross again." The orb then flew out of the building. Recap. Izuku. "Can someone without a quirk like me become a hero like you?" He shouted, asking All Might, who stopped. All Might turned slightly, looking at Izuku, who had his eyes closed and looking down. All Might, "No." Izuku's eyes widened in shock, his pupils dilated, and he felt all his strength leave his body in seconds. "You cannot become a hero without a quirk." Tears began to grow in his eyes. It felt like his heart was torn out of his chest. After everything. After everything. Not even All Might himself believed he could become a hero. Izuku, "What?" All Might. "I'm sorry, young man, but I believe it's best you give up." All Might then jumped away, leaving Izuku broken. Bakugo and his friends were walking through an alleyway. Katsuki. "That stupid nerd, who the hell does he think he is trying to compete with us?" Izumi. "Forget about it, babe. He's a loser who couldn't compete with you even if he had the strength of All Might," she said, walking with them, when a bottle fell out of nowhere and hit her on the head. Ow. The group turned to face their friend, who was rubbing her hurt head. Random one. "You okay, Izumi?" Izumi. "Yeah, something just hit me. I think it was a bottle." Katsuki. "TCH, come on, you idiots, let's hit the arcade." Izumi. Yeah, we're coming, Explodo boy." Izumi scoffed and continued with the group, without noticing the growing mountain of sludge behind them that covered the light that barely illuminated the alleyway. With Izuku. Izuku was on his knees, wiping his tears away. "Izuku, why are you crying, idiot? You always knew. You always knew you could never be a hero." Izuku got up and began walking to the exit door of the building when he heard an explosion and looked to see it coming from the mall area. "Izuku, what's happening there?" At the scene. At the site, the sludge villain caused destruction all over. The police kept the people behind them as the heroes Death Arms, Kimui Woods, and Backdraft arrived. "Death Arms, how dare you prey on a child?" he shouted at the sludge villain, jumping into the air to punch it as it held a familiar green-haired girl inside it. "Sludge, haha." Death Arms' fist sunk into the sludge as he tried pushing out. "What is this?" "Some type of goo," he shouted, shocked by it, before getting hit back into a metal wall. Extra Hero 1. "You okay, Death Arms?" Extra Hero 2. "Look out." The random heroes shouted as they dodged an incoming tendril that smashed down on the shop behind them. "Sludge, stay back, or I'll snap her neck." The girl trapped inside the villain revealed herself to be Izumi, who pushed with all her might to get out of the sludge. "Izumi, gra, let me go. Help me, Katsuki," she shouted, using her quirk to push herself out of the sludge, looking straight towards Katsuki, who stood at the front of the crowd, doing nothing but looking away, afraid, shocking her. Sludge, you've got so much power. I've hit the jackpot. With a quirk like yours under my control, I can take out All Might with one punch. The civilians watching were slightly frightened by the scene. Civilian, whoa, is that some kind of special move? Civilian, this dude is a legit supervillain. Civilian, gasp, look at her, the new hero, MT Lady, will stop him. She said, but MT Lady had to stop since the buildings were too close together. Gasp, my only weakness. I'll need at least a 2-lane road if I want to make my way through. She shouted in her giant form. Kimui swung in and grabbed several civilians from in the fire to get them out. Fire and wood don't exactly make a good combination. I'll need to leave someone else to handle this guy, he said, jumping away as Backdraft fired water on the flames. Don't look at me, I've got my hands full here. Where are those fire trucks? Anyone, he shouted to the other heroes. Death Arms, I can't get a grip on his weird body, and that kid keeps sending blasts of air. I can't get in close. It. Izumi kept struggling, which Death Arms noticed, but he also noticed the villain attacking incoming. He shouted, jumping back and dodging another of the villain's tendrils. Death Arms, it's no good. We don't have the right quirks to take down a villain like this. Extra hero, we gotta keep it under control till someone else gets here, he said as another flame burst from behind some glass in a building. Backdraft, there's still plenty of people to save. Kimui, don't worry, I bet every hero in the city is on their way, he said, pulling people out of the fire form on top of the building. Death Arms thoughts, sorry kid, you're just gonna have to hold on a little longer. Death Arms thoughts, if only I had more power, I could blow this guy away. Izuku had just arrived to hear the people trying to support the heroes who were doing nothing to save the hostages. Izuku POV. Izuku thoughts, gas, that's the guy who attacked me. He shouted to himself in shock. No way, All Might captured him, he thought, looking at the pro beside him before recalling how All Might had lost him. Izuku, but the bottle, if he dropped it, that means it's my fault. Izuku thoughts, it's my fault, this is all my fault, and he's already caught someone. How can they breathe? I thought I'd die in only a few minutes. Oh man. He covered his mouth, shocked. Extra one. Wait, I'm confused. Isn't that the villain All Might be chasing today? Extra two. What All Might? But weight lost, where is he? Extra three. Wait, can't someone call him or something? Extra. Yeah, where is he? Izuku focused his gaze on Izumi, who was trapped and being held down by the sludge villain's tendrils wrapped around her body, some crawling up on her body, trying to get under her uniform. Izuku's thoughts. Why aren't they doing anything? Save Izumi. Someone, anyone, please save her, he shouted when he saw a single tear come down her eye. Izuku ran forward past the crowd, shocking everyone, including Izumi's group. Death Arms. No, you idiot, stop him before he gets killed, he shouted as Izuku ran forward. Izuku thoughts. I can't stop now. Sludge. You again, this time I'll kill you, he shouted, sending an arm of sludge at him. Izuku's thoughts. What do I do? What would a hero do right now? Page 25, right? Izuku spun around and threw the bag off his shoulder over the villain as one book fell from it and into its eye, causing it to scream in pain as he reached Izumi and tried to pull her out of the sludge villain's hold. The sludge villain, angrier than ever, raised his tendril to hit Izuku. Death Arms, save the boy. Death Arms, save the boy. Izuku covered himself with his arms, but the hit never came. All Might, how many times must I tell you? Izuku looked up at the pro in shock. All Might, I told you what is needed to be a hero, but I suppose I wasn't clear enough, boy. He grabbed Izumi. All Might, Detroit. Sludge, All Might, smash. The sludge villain blew apart the air pressure from the attack, causing all the flames to go out and change the weather, shocking everyone. Meanwhile, Izuku and Bakugo were unconscious. Extra 4. Did that just happen? Extra 5. He just changed the weather with a single punch. Extra 8. He saved the day. He's amazing. After that, the heroes collected all the sludge villain remains, and the police took him into custody. All Might got celebrated, and I was reprimanded. Kamui, you moron, do you have a death wish? Death Arms. There is absolutely no reason for you to put yourself in danger like that. Kamui, it was reckless and foolish. You should have let us do our jobs. Izuku looked down, upset. I was put through the ringer and told off for doing the right thing. while Izumi was praised for her bravery. Izumi and her boyfriend were both glaring at Izuku, albeit Izumi's look was more of a worried one. Meanwhile, a pro was telling her she had a future as a great sidekick. Time skip. People were watching what happened on the TVs, revealing All Might, Izumi and Izuku's faces on screen. Meanwhile, Izuku was on his way home when he heard someone. "Ha ha, I am here." Izuku's thoughts, All Might. He walked to a corner and looked past it to see All Might in front of his main tormentors. "Izumi, All Might. It's you? All Might." "Haha, yes it is I, All Might, but I'm also your dad," he shouted, turning into Small Might. Izuku was shocked, his eyes widened, and he covered his mouth. Izuku's thoughts. "No, this can't be. Please God, wake me up from this nightmare. Tashinori, and I have come to give one of you something special." "Katsuki." "What is it, Mr. Yagi?" "Tashinori, my quirk." Izuku fell to his knees, hearing All Might tell them about his quirk, and then it happened, the moment that finally broke Izuku. "Izumi, but why not give your quirk to Izuku?" "Tashinori, because he lacks a heroic spirit and is too reckless. He'll get himself killed trying to go after his ridiculous dream. So will you take my quirk?" "Izumi, I can't, I'm sorry." "All Might, I see that's a shame, Izumi. So, young Bakugo, will you take it?" "Bakugos, you're right, I will." "I mean, yes, sir." Bakugo thoughts. "He stupid, Deku. Not even your own father thinks you're good enough for a quirk." Tashinori laughed and petted Katsuki's head. "You are the son I wish I had. Oh, how I envy your father, young Bakugo." Katsuki smiled pridefully. Katsuki's thoughts. "He doesn't even want you, loser." Tashinori. "Well, let's go. Inko is at home right now, making dinner. We invited your families over as well to celebrate." "Kids, right?" they said as they went to the Yagi house. None of them saw Izuku, who was completely devastated. Time skip. Reaching his home, Izuku put his key in a lock and turned it, unlocking the door. Slowly, he turned the doorknob and walked inside the house when he saw something that broke his heart. Even more, his mother, father, sister, ex-friend, aunts, and uncles all eating at the large dining table without him. Each one laughing and eating their fill while he starved. So he just walked to the stairs in complete silence and opened his door to see his bedroom. Crawling inside, he closed the door and lay on his bed, shutting his eyes, a single tear falling from them as he slept. In Izuku's dream, Izuku found himself in a world of fire. "Izuku, where am I?" Unknown character. "Welcome to your mind's K-partner." Izuku's eyes widened at the deep voice which echoed throughout the flaming world. Turning around, he witnessed something extraordinary, a crimson dragon with eyes as green as his own rising from the fires below. "Izuku, a dragon, ah?" Izuku began freaking out. Unknown character. "Calm down." The dragon demanded as Izuku stopped, but was frozen in fear. "Izuku, sorry," he squeaked. Unknown character. "Sigh, it's all right, but I must admit, I'm happily surprised to see you are strong enough for me to communicate with you, unlike my previous partner, that no good pervert." Izuku. "The partner?" Unknown character. "All right, you still don't understand. Well, allow me to explain it to you. I am Drake, also known as the Red Dragon Emperor. However, due to some unfortunate events relating to the previous wielder, I've come to be known as Mumble the Rack Dragon Emperor." Izuku. What's a Dragon Emperor?" Drake. "All right, I apologize now. A Dragon Emperor is a being stronger than God, but weaker than a dragon god." Izuku, dragon god. Drake. "Indeed, and so far there are only two great: Red, the dragon god of the dream, who is the strongest being within the universe, and Orphis, the previous strongest being." Izuku. "Okay, and how many dragon emperors are there?" Drake. "Only two, one being myself, and the other I will tell you about later in time, because what I will tell you will change your very understanding of the physical world." Drake began telling Izuku about the supernatural world, how the gods others believed in were actually all real, and how devils, angels, and fallen angels also existed. He also told Izuku about God's unfortunate demise, and how Michael was the one who governed heaven. Then Drake told Izuku about how yokais also existed, and everything he knew about sacred gears, especially about the 13 gears of Longinus. Finally, he told Izuku about his own gear, called the Boosted Gear, a weapon capable of doubling the user's power every 10 seconds till he could fight even God, and to say Izuku was shocked would be an understatement. Izuku, wow, that was a lot, but wait, if I have the Boosted Gear, does that mean I'll be able to fight even God? Oh my God, this means that everything we know is wrong, and mumble, 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 mumble. Drake, hey, quite nerding out. Izuku jumped back, breaking out of his mumble. Izuku, sorry, but there's one thing I don't understand. Drake, go on. Izuku, why choose me? Drake, chuckles young man, I have lived for countless years. I've seen all there was to see and more, but never have I seen someone so willing to give up their life to save someone other than themselves. Drake looked at Izuku, who fell to his knees. Drake, there's stories about every hero, how they became great, and one thing they all had in common was that their bodies moved on their own. That happened for you, didn't it? Drake, Izuku Yagi, Quirkless son of Tashinori, and Inko Yagi, I the great red dragon emperor deem you worthy. So allow me to say the words you desperately need to hear, the words that speak nothing but the truth. You could be a hero. Drake, chuckle, you truly are such a crybaby. Now, stop the tears, partner. Izuku quickly wiped away his tears and let go of a few sniffles before standing up. Drake, now we have work to do for today. We started training. Izuku, training? Drake, of course, after all, you can't be a hero without a strong body, and you can't wield all my people as you are now. So are you ready? Izuku, yes. Drake, good, now get to it. Outside his mind, Izuku's eyes opened quickly, and he sat up in a flash. His breathing was fast, and he was sweaty, but that's not what mattered to him. He had to know if everything he saw was real, and that's when he felt a jolt of energy rushing through him like a speeding bullet. Looking down at his hand, he smiled tearfully at the crimson gauntlet with a green gem in it right over his hand. Meanwhile in Kuo, Issei Hayadu screamed in agony, holding his burning chest. Rias, Issei, she shouted, holding him down as the rest of the girls on his bed woke up. Akino, Issei, what's going on, Rias? Rias, I'm not sure, he just woke up screaming. Zenobia, maybe it's the dragon's spirit hurting him. Rias, let me check. She pressed her hand against his chest, a red glow illuminating in between the touch, when suddenly her eyes widened. Rias, impossible. Asia, what is it, Rias? Akino, tell us. Rias, Issei's sacred gear, it's gone. Izuku opened his door slowly, and quietly the clock on the wall across the hall showed that it was 7 a.m., and the window revealed the sun rising slowly. Quickly, as to not cross any of his soon-to-be awoken parents, he tiptoed to the door, wearing a tracksuit and a scarf. Then he felt something bump into his foot and looked down to see Bakugo sleeping in a sleeping bag beside Izumi. Izuku, phew. He was scared. He woke them up when suddenly. Drake, good morning, partner. Izuku, ah. He jumped in shock and ended up jumping onto Bakugo's stomach, waking him up and making him scream, which caused his sister to wake up. Izumi, what the? Izuku. Izuku quickly made a break for it before they could get him and left the house, slamming the door shut. Izuku. Sai, why, Drake? He asked the laughing dragon. Drake. Haha, sorry, but you have to admit that was funny. Izuku's worried expression turned into one of laughter. Pfft. Did you see his face? It was like he pooped his pants. Drake once again burst out laughing as Izuku sped down the street. Izuku arrived at Takoba Beach, a filthy place filled to the bottom with trash. Drake. All right, well done for finding this spot, partner. It will do nicely for training. Izuku smiled a bit. Drake. Now, as you know, we'll be doing our training here for the next 10 months. You will return this beach to its former glory before it was filled with trash for your training, so prepare yourself for it will be hard. You will feel like you're dying, and you won't be allowed to stop. So, tell me, are you ready? Izuku. Sai, I've wanted to be a hero every day of my life, so it doesn't matter what's thrown against me. I won't stop till I succeed. Drake. Well said, partner. Now, let's begin. Training. And so, there Izuku's months of hellish training began. He would start his days off with some light stretching very early, in the morning, 5 o'clock to be exact, and after waking up he dressed in a tracksuit for his training and would head out to buy himself a light breakfast using his father's card since neither of his parents cared enough to make him breakfast at all. He would jog around his neighborhood twice. The second time would consist of him sprinting even if his lungs felt like they were on fire. Then he would head home to get his belongings before heading over to school, grabbing his yellow bag and school uniform. After school, he'd then head straight to Dagoba Beach where he would train with the garbage. Drake would regularly cheer him on and would often tell Izuku stories of the previous Red Dragon Emperor and stories about the history of the supernatural world, which he enjoyed thoroughly. Our green-haired hero did this every day for 4 months. The objects he would have to lift, pull, and push got heavier and heavier till the point he had to pull a truck stuck on its brakes to the other side of the beach. One day, Izumi saw Izuku exit the bathroom shirtless and had a nosebleed at the sight of his body, which had grown in height and muscle. Speaking of Izumi, she would often try to bully and humiliate Izuku. However, he would always avoid her, even when she tried to get to him before class ended. Follow him in the morning. However, he was always too fast for her to catch up to him. One day, Bakugo even threatened him and tried forcing him to tell them where he was heading, but Izuku shocked the two when he shoved Bakugo away and ran off. Izuku had asked Drake to train him the use of magic, so Drake first began the lessons by educating Izuku about the basic elements of magic and about the elements after them. The two found Izuku especially good with fire magic, and so Drake educated Izuku on how to cast flame spells and all the different types of flame spells there were. For the next 2 weeks, Izuku learned how the mere basics of how to create fire magic, but due to him being human, it was especially hard to create even sparks. In the 6th month, Izuku decided to further expand his knowledge of flame magic and use his knowledge of quirks and the boosted gear as well as magic to think of a totally new form of fire magic one, in which he would touch a person or an object and snap his fingers, causing the person or object to explode. Drake also informed Izuku of how, by boosting his power, he could increase the sheer strength of his attacks and magic power. Unfortunately, due to his sacred gear being in its dormant state, still he couldn't test any of his knowledge in combat. When the 7th month came, Drake decided to educate Izuku on how to fight with a blade so he could properly wield Ascalon. The sword training was actually one of Izuku's favorite things to do, but also one of the hardest as he had to increase his speed and arm strength. Even at night, he would train to swing his blade and hit several sticks of bamboo, and later he would do weights weighing from at least 100 kilos to 200 kilos. Drake even showed Izuku the different styles of how to use a blade and the code by which a true knight abides, even going as far as to show him some of the styles used by the knights of past legends. Drake finally decided to educate Izuku on how to use magic other than elemental. It was dragon magic. But the first step was to learn how to make his own magic circle and how important it was to create one so as to properly harness magic power. Izuku's first dozen attempts were complete failures as each was unsuited for him. But when Drake gave him some advice on how Merlin created his first magic circle with his eyes closed and allowed his instinct to create the circle, Izuku did the exact same. Relaxing his tense muscles and body, he allowed his body to create the magic circle, and when he opened his eyes, he was pleasantly surprised at the magic circle that he drew up. Drake explained that the circle allowed Izuku to create even stronger spells, but they would quickly take away most of his magic reserves despite them being larger than the average devils. Finally, Drake decided to train Izuku in physical combat, so when a situation would come up when he couldn't fight with Drake, he could defend himself. The training was done in Izuku's mind, so he could fight against dummies created by Drake. The first skill he learned was ninjutsu, which consisted of manipulating the flow of ki, which most yokai are born with and in high amounts. Now the training was harder than he thought it would be, but he kept trying to learn it. His knowledge was vague, but he was able to use ki to increase his physical strength and speed, and also his defensive power. This one technique he learned was actually toki, which is a senjutsu technique. Modifying it with his knowledge, Izuku created a form of toki he called Reiku, where you would draw all your ki out and use it all within a minute, thus increasing your strength and power immensely. It even allowed him to create air pressure capable of rivaling All Might's weakest smash. Finally, after so many months of training, Izuku was finally done with all his training. Present day. Drake. All right, partner, now. Begin. Let's see if you can do it. Unlock the next stage of your gear. Izuku took a deep breath and nodded his head. Izuku. All right, let's do this. He closed his eyes. Drake. Let everything go. The wind brushed against Izuku, lifting his clothes slightly. Boost. Drake. Allow the magic to flow through you. Boost. Drake. Allow your feelings to empower you. Boost. A transparent green aura surrounded Izuku. Drake. Let the rage in your heart become your power. Boost. Drake. You are the Red Dragon Emperor. Boost. Drake. You will embody domination itself. Boost. Drake. Do not allow fate to hold you back. Boost. Drake. Overcome it. Boost. Drake. Shatter the shackles of destiny. Boost. Izuku groaned in pain. The cracking of his knuckles could be heard as he clenched his fists tighter, the aura around him turning bright red. Drake. Izuku Yagi, what is your fate? Izuku thoughts. No matter what, I will destroy my destiny, even if it's set in stone, no matter what I will. Boost. Izuku. I will become the strongest Red Dragon Emperor in history. Gra. A torrent of fire blasted from beneath Izuku like a raging inferno of power. People around all of Japan could hear Izuku screaming before his scream turned into a dragon's roar. With the Yagis, Izumi and her friends were all holding their hands over their ears. Izumi, what the hell is this? Tashinori, I don't know. With Izuku. Izuku arc. Drake. Izuku, control the energy, don't let it consume you. Izuku forced his jaw shut, and the power he was radiating returned back into the gear. Flames surrounded him, burning at hundreds of degrees, but none of them affected him as he fell to the ground, breathing heavily, and the flames finally disappeared. Drake, Izuku. Izuku, you aren't hurt, are you? Izuku. Yep, but what was that, Drake? Drake. It was your emotions and your desire. You see, the boosted gear responds to its wielder's emotions and desires. Yours were to become the most powerful Red Dragon Emperor and the best hero you could be, so that triggered a release of some of my power when you evolve the gear. Izuku, wait, evolved. Does that mean? Drake, take a look. Izuku looked down at his new gear with tears. Drake, congratulations, Izuku, you successfully unlocked the next stage of the boosted gear. Izuku, ha. He laughed with joy and tears. He did it. He was finally one step closer to his dream. Drake, I'm proud of you, Izuku. Izuku, thanks, partner Sniff. Drake, no worries now. Then I have one more thing for you to do. Izuku, huh? Drake, focus your power on the magic circle, which you created, and let me do the rest. Izuku nodded and quickly created the magic circle, which took him away before he saw the 3 magic circles of different kinds which appeared on the beach. With Izuku himself in a crimson forest, with the sky being dark blue, red, and several other colors. Izuku, where are we? Drake, this is the familiar forest, he said upbeat as Izuku grew a massive smile on his face. Does that mean? Drake, chuckle, yep, it means you get the chance to have a familiar. Izuku, thanks, Drake. Drake, no problem, partner. Now, let's have a look around. Izuku nodded and began walking down the hilltop he was on and looked around. During his visit, he discovered dozens of creatures, each one more interesting than the other, but they weren't for him. An hour or two went by, but he still found nothing. Izuku, sigh, still nothing. Drake, I suppose it's about time we head back, partner. We can try again another time. Izuku, yeah, you're right. As Izuku was about to create the magic circle, suddenly, he heard a thunderbolt. Suddenly, a yellow lightning bolt smashed into the ground in front of him, sending him skidding back. Izuku arc, he roared in pain as he crashed into a tree. Ow. He began picking himself up and looked ahead to see something that made his eyes widen. Drake, oh no. Izuku, Drake, what is that? Drake, it's called Arc Regulus, a beast governing lightning itself. This thing is too strong for you. Izuku, we need to go. Izuku took a step back in fear before turning around and running as fast as he could before hearing the lion roar. Boost. The beast turned itself into pure yellow lightning, going after Izuku, who screamed as bolts of lightning smashed into the ground beside him. He looked up at the sky, and his eyes widened in fear as 3 bolts of lightning came down the storming sky. Boost! The arcs fused into one large lightning bolt, which struck Izuku, causing him to scream in pain. Arg. He fell to the ground with smoke coming out of his clothes. Drake, Izuku! Back away, beast! Boost! Regulus growled and opened its jaw about to bite Izuku, when quickly spinning around Izuku, right hooked it in the face, sending the lion 8 feet back. It groaned and shook its head, trying to erase its dizziness before looking back up at Izuku with a growl as electricity bounced off its jaws. Drake, partner, I think we made it mad. Boost! Izuku! Hee, then it's a good thing I won. Getting up slowly and wiping away the trick of vital fluid coming down his smirking lips, a flaming red magic circle appeared over Regulus's cheek. Raising his gauntlet arm and extending his middle finger and thumb, he connected them Dragon Spark. Boost! Snapping his fingers together with a spark, Regulus burst into flames. Regulus roared in pain as the large explosion enveloped its body, knocking it out and leaving the beast lying on its side, smoking, while Izuku collapsed to his knees, breathing heavily. Izuku! Cough, cough, my everything hurts. He whined in pain. Drake! Well, you did get hit by lightning. Thankfully, my boosting was able to protect your body, but I must ask, why didn't you use Toki? After all, you are well versed in it. Izuku froze completely. Izuku! I may have forgotten about that, hee. Drake, you what? Izuku chuckled while scratching the back of his head when he heard Regulus moving and turned his head to look at the lion that stood up and stared at him for a few seconds before tackling him down to the ground and rubbing its head against his body, purring. It seemed more like a pet now than a fearsome beast. Izuku! Ha ha ha, hey, it tickles. Wait, what's going on? Don't you want to eat me? Regulus stopped purring and looked back up at Izuku like an adorable kitty before shaking its head. Izuku! Then why did you attack me? The lion made a low roar sound as if trying to communicate. Izuku, what? Drake, allow me. It seems Regulus was actually challenging you to see if you were worthy of being its master. Thankfully, after you defeated it, Regulus decided it wants you to be its master. Izuku, really? Hey, Regulus, do you want to become my familiar? Regulus nodded at light speed and licked Izuku's cheek. Ha ha ha. Okay. He got up with the help of Regulus and stood straight. Izuku. Okay, Drake, so how do I do this? Drake. All right, first put your hand on Regulus's head. Izuku, all right. He placed his hand on Regulus's forehead. Drake. Now repeat after me. I Izuku Yagi. Izuku. I Izuku Yagi. Drake. Hereby command you to serve me. Izuku. Hereby command you to serve me. Drake. May the binds that shackle my soul connect with yours and become mine. Izuku. May the binds that shackle my soul connect with yours and become my own. Drake. Accept thy name, Arch Regulus. Izuku. Accept thy name, Arch Regulus. Suddenly, Izuku's magic circle shined above Regulus' head before disappearing, and Regulus then jumped on Izuku, licking him like crazy as he laughed, while Drake smiled within the gear. Drake thoughts. I am thankful to have met you, partner, for together you shall change this world and become the greatest hero that has ever existed. In the underworld, Ria's peerage, what? In Surzek's office, Ria's Gremory and her peerage all sat in front of the Devil King and has made wife Graphia shocked at the recent news. Aquino, but how could it even be possible? There's no way for someone to lose their sacred gear unless they die. Surzex, I'm not sure, dear sister, but somehow Drake fled Issei's body, and I suspect that's why he was unconscious for several months. Issei, I felt it and saw something or someone. He had green hair and freckles, but he also had this fire around him. That was what I saw when I woke up. Surzex, green hair, you say? I don't know anyone but Ajuka Beelzebub with that color hair, but he isn't capable of such a feat. Kiba, F it, I swear to you, Issei, we will find this guy and get Drake back. Asia, yeah, Issei. Issei teared up, thanks, guys. He cried. Surzex looked down and thought, this is bad. If we don't somehow retrieve Drake and return him to Issei, then the entire Devil faction will be at a significant disadvantage if a war were to break out, and what's worse. Surzex, Rias and her entire peerage turned to face the serious Surzex. Surzex, I want you to focus all your spare time on finding Drake and returning him to Issei. Rias, of course, brother, but is something wrong? You seem troubled. Grafia looked at her husband when she noticed the door to his office opened and her son Milika is peeking in. He quietly ran to Grafia and waited for his father to finish with Rias. Surzex, Psychokabil has escaped. This shocked the entire peerage. Rias, what? But that shouldn't be possible. Azazel himself threw him into Cositis. Milikas ran to his father and pulled on his pants farther. He called, but Surzex ignored him farther. Surzex this time gently pushed him back. Not now. Milikas, he whispered angrily to his son, who looked down and nodded before walking back to his mother disheartened. Surzex, fake cough now. As I was saying, yes, he was in Cositis. However, somehow he's grown stronger and broke free from its waters. Our intel has reported that he's securing an army under the radar. Unfortunately, Azazel, and I can't find anything or anyone tracing back to him. So that's why it's imperative we find Drake. Rias and her peerage nodded. Yes, sir, they all bowed. Izuku could be seen walking towards the UA building. His clothes were baggy, hiding his physique, but you could still see some of the muscles from underneath his shirt. Izuku, all right, made it just in time. He smiled bright, seeing the UA entrance in front of him. Drake, well, considering how early we left, it's not surprising. Izuku chuckled nervously before walking towards the entrance when he heard Katsuki, stupid Deku. He then turned around and saw Bakugo and Izumi walking toward him in their school uniforms with scars around their necks. Izuku raised an eyebrow, looking at him with an expression that spoke for itself. Really? He sighed and stepped aside, not bothered by their temper tantrums. Izuku thoughts. Sigh, they haven't changed in all this time. I don't know why I'm surprised. Drake, well, we can't worry about that right now, because you have an exam to get a partner, so hop to it. Izuku nodded and continued on his way, hearing some people murmur in the background. Hey, isn't that the girl from the villain attack a few months ago? Yeah, I heard All Might even changed the weather. Her name is Yagi, right? Yes, she's the real deal. Izuku sighed. Of course, they would only remember the actions of those with quirks, but no matter, things are different now, because he is no longer alone and weak. He has Drake, he has power, and more importantly, he has Regulus in case of emergency. In the auditorium, present Mike. Mike, what's up, UA candidates? Welcome to UA. Come on, and let me hear ya. No one said a thing till yeah? Izuku shouted as everyone turned to face him, but he didn't care. Mike, thank you, little listener. Now let's get to it. Are you ready? He shouted out, yeah. Izuku shouted again, shut up, Deku. Izumi growled from next to make him angry. He whispered back, making her angry. Thankfully, for Izuku, Katsuki was seated 3 rows away. Mike, thank you, my little dude. Like your application said today, you rockin' boys and girls will be doing 10-minute mock battles in super cool settings. Here are your lanes, my friends. After all, after I drop the mic, you'll head to your specified battle centers. Sound good? Okay. Izumi looked at her card. And then Izuku's, I see they're splitting us up, so we don't end up working with friends. Izuku noticed the same thing Izumi did. Yeah, you're right, our examining numbers are one after another, but we're assigned to different battle centers. Izumi, get your eyes off my card. I was looking forward to crushing you. She growled at Izuku. Drake, how dare this, which insult. My partner, if I were still in my physical body, I would annihilate her. Mike, Okay, let's check out your villains. There are 3 types of villains in every battle center. You better choose wisely, cause based on their difficulty, the more points you gain using your quirk, shred these villains like a mid-sung guitar solo. But check and make sure you keep things heroic. Attacking other examinees is a UA no you dig. Unknown character. Excuse me, sir, but I have a question. A boy with blue hair wearing glasses and a yellow suit stood up. Mike, hit me. Unknown character. On the printout, you've listed 4 types of villains, not 3. With all due respect, if this is a mistake on official UA materials, then it is shameful. We are exemplary students. We only expect the best from Japan's top hero school. Furthermore, you with the green hair. He looked over at Izuku. You've been muttering this whole time. Stop. that if you can't bother to take things seriously, then leave your distracting the rest of us. Izuku raised an eyebrow at him, while Drake was growling hatefully at the glasses guy. Izuku quickly covered his mouth sorry. He squeaked out nervously, causing the people around him to laugh. Mike. All right, examinee 1.1.1, thanks for calling in with your request. The fourth villain type is worth 0 points. That guy is just an obstacle we'll be throwing your way. There's one in every battle center. Just try to avoid it. It's not that it can't be beaten, but there's kind of no point. I recommend my listeners try to ignore it and focus on the one top of the chart. Mike, that's all I got for you today. I'll sign off with a small present, a sample of our school motto. As General Neapolitan once laid down, a true hero overcomes life's misfortunes and makes him. Now, that's a tasty sound bite. You ready to go beyond? Let's hear a plus ultra good luck. Hope you practiced more than hitting just books. Time skip. Izuku stood in front of his practical exams entrance in a nice white, gray, and pink tracksuit with a red fingerless glove on his sacred gear hand. Izuku thoughts. Well, this is it. Time to put my 10 months of training to the test. I will succeed no matter what. Drake. We got this, partner. Well, it's like a whole city. Can you imagine how much this cost them? UA is amazing. Some random people muttered in front of the city B doors while Izuku's eyes wandered around. Izuku thoughts. Look at all this, Drake. Everyone here is so confident, and some have support gear. Drake. Yes, but remember, focus is key here, and we have the advantage. Izuku nodded his head, when suddenly he heard someone breathing hard and turned to look at a girl with bob-cut brown hair, trying hard not to panic. So he decided to go comfort her. When he was forcefully stopped by a hand on his shoulder, turning around, he saw the glasses-wearing guy in some high-grade training tights. Unknown character. She looks like she's trying to focus on the trials ahead. What are you going to do to distract her and prevent her from succeeding? Drake. This guy is really annoying. Izuku. No, of course not. I was. Izuku's shouting caused the other examinees to turn to look at him and the glasses guy. Random 1. Hey, over there, that's the guy who freaked out earlier. Random 2. He practically wet himself in the lecture hall. Random 3. Dude, what a loser. Well, one less rival to worry about, I guess. Everyone's thoughts. He's out. Izuku thoughts. Why do I feel like everyone's already written me off? Drake. TCH, stupid human brats. The entrance to City B opened, and everyone looked at it, but Izuku dashed inside. Boost. Random 4. Hey, get back here. Random 5. Don't worry about it. There's no way he'll get any points, and they'll probably disqualify him for going in without the teacher's permission. Mike. What are you guys doing? There are no countdowns in a real fight. Get moving. Look at my little listener. He's already shredding out there now. Go. 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 Everyone was in shock before they ran inside, only to find many off the robots in the front on fire or broken. Mini time skip. A 2-pointer approached Izuku, who smashed through it with his sacred gear. Boost. Izuku. Huff huff. How many was that, partner? Drake. 10. Let's keep going. Izuku thoughts, right? 1 3-pointer approached from behind him, so Izuku spun around and slid under the robot, touching the bottom of it when 3 more 1-point robots approached, and he flipped over the middle one's head, touching its back. He did the same with the other 2 1-pointers and ran away. Random 6, idiot. You forget to take them now, they're my points. He smiled, turning his hand into a drill and charging at them while Izuku smirked. Izuku. No, I just didn't want to get hurt by my own attack. Boost. Snapping his fingers, 4 small magic circles appeared over the robots' heads before cracks appeared all over their metal bodies with a bright blue glow beneath them, and then they exploded, sending the examinee flying. Izuku thoughts. That was stronger than I thought it would be. Drake. Great job, Izuku. Now, then let's continue. Izuku nodded his head with a smirk, seeing 4 more 2-pointers charging at him from all sides. Meanwhile, teacher's watchroom. Nizu. Clearly the examinees have no idea how many villains are present or where they are. They have a limited amount of time and must cover a vast number of areas before the time runs out. Some useful information, gathering abilities to plan out strategies. They watched one boy with a large number of limbs on a roof, while others rely on speed to pull ahead of their peers, They watch the glasses guy drift through streets, of course. Remaining calm under pressure can be a huge advantage they watched. A blonde boy shoot lasers from his stomach as his pure power and combat ability. They watched the Bakugos breathing heavily on the remains of robots. The most successful students are the ones who use a combination of all these tactics. They're the ones who gather the most points. Midnight. I'd say this year's bunch is promising, especially him. They all turned their heads to see Izuku dash at high speeds underneath a robot, which cornered an examinee, and then he destroyed it with one punch through its head, shocking his parents. Tashinori, what the? Izuku, he doesn't have a quirk. How's he doing this? Inko, what's that thing on his hand? Could it be his quirk? But that shouldn't be possible unless... Toshi, do you think he... Tashinori and Inko looked at each other with worry, while the other teachers focused on his exam. Ectoplasm. His speed is incredible, as is his physical prowess, his body's flexibility, and the way he's performing. It's like he has experience in battle. And those explosions he creates, it's like he has two quirks. Nizu. Well, this is quite the interesting turn of events. Bring me his file. Tashinori thoughts. Two quirks. Now don't tell me he went to that man, but he should be dead. Midnight opened Izuku's file name. Izuku Yagi, student of Aldera Junior High. Quirk. None. He wrote none for quirk. Does that mean he lied on the survey? Vlad. Odd, why hide information about your quirk if it's that strong? It's almost suspicious. Hey, All Might. Tempest, he's your son. Do you know anything about this? Inko. No, as far as we know, he has no quirk. At least that's what the doctor told us. Nizu. So that begs the question, when and how did he unlock his quirk, if it's a quirk at all? He muttered the last part to himself. Aizawa. I want him in my class. If there is a reason as to why he's hiding his quirk, then I can deal with it. I will keep an eye on him and find out if there's anything suspicious or evil about him. Nizu. All right, then. I leave him under your watch, Aizawa. Make sure you keep a close eye on him and judge his intentions in our school. But for now, let's put that aside and get back to the test. He's gotten almost 97 villain points. That's impressive indeed. I wonder if he could reach All Might's points at 200. All Might finally decided to enter the conversation. He won't be able to do it. Izuku has never been good at fighting, and he lacks training, unlike his sister and young Bakugo, who I'm sure have gotten higher scores. 13. Aren't you being too quick to judge All Might? We don't even know if he's been trained by someone or if he's trained alone in secret. Also, you shouldn't have a biased opinion being a teacher now. All Might looked down, and Aizawa narrowed his eyes at him. You can't possibly believe he's working for All for One, do you? He's your son? All Might. I don't know if he's indeed working for that man, but I know of no one else able to give someone powers strong enough to rival my own. There's no way he could just wake a quirk up so suddenly. Aizawa, All Might. That's low. He's just a child. Your own child. He shouted angrily. Nizu, we can all discuss this later, but for now I want to see how these children act in the face of danger. He pressed the red button. Back with Izuku. The entire city began shaking and slabs of cement fell off the roofs of buildings, and a massive dust cloud blocked everyone's view of the area in front of them. When the smoke cleared, everyone saw a massive robot that scared them all. Izuku shook in fear as the machina sent a punch at the ground, causing an even larger explosion, nearly sending everyone flying. Once the pressure cleared, it revealed Izuku, who had fallen down trembling. Mike, less than 2 minutes remaining. Izuku's thoughts. Why am I shaking? No, I can't do this. I can't beat that thing. I have to get out of here quick. How he heard the cry of a girl. Izuku turned around, seeing the girl he wanted to help earlier with her foot buried under rubble. Izuku looked back towards her in terror as the shadow of the giant robot covered him, his eyes shining green from the energy boosts of his gear. Flashback. Izuku was on the beach with Drake talking to him. Drake. Hey partner, you always speak about becoming a hero, but may I ask why you're so driven to become one? Izuku. You don't know. Well, it's because I want to give people something I was denied. Drake. And what's what? And a flashback. Hope. Izuku turned back and ran towards the girl. His emotions went into overdrive as the green gem of his gear glowed brighter than ever before. Boost. Izuku thoughts. I want to be a hero and save everyone. Boost, 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 boost. Boost, 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 explosion. A glowing red sphere the size of a mini golf ball appeared in front of Izuku's fist as he punched it and sent a colossal beam of crimson energy straight at the zero-pointer head. The beam created an explosion so strong it sent all the examinees flying back and shook 3 other fake cities. Izuku Dragon Shot. When the smoke cleared, it revealed half the zero-pointer's entire body was destroyed, and the part that was still standing had orange liquefied metal coming down the remaining top. Everyone was silent and left in utter shock at what had happened. Even the teachers were stunned. The boy who the examinees mocked, the boy who had a weak appearance, the very same boy who was freaking out in the auditorium, had decimated the zero-pointers like it was nothing, and he was just 15 years old. All Might and Inko had actually fallen off their chairs in shock. Izuku, are you okay? He asked the girl with a worried expression, making her blush. Girl, yeah, thank you for saving me, by the way. Izuku, no problem. Oh, here, let me help you. Using what little amounts of boosted strength he had left, he lifted the slab of rock off her leg. Can you get up? He asked her. Unknown character. Yeah. She tried to stand but couldn't and looked down with a hurt expression. Here, let me help, he said with a smile that made her bright red. Izuku put her arm over his shoulder as Recovery Girl came toward the examinees to help them. Time skip. Izuku walked into his house with his bag over his shoulder, only to see his parents waiting for him on the couch. Tashinori. Izuku, we need to talk. Izuku, however, ignored him and continued walking. Inko, don't ignore your father, young man. Come here and sit down. She shouted, grabbing him by his arm, but Izuku shrugged her off and continued on his way. Izumi, get back here, Deku. She ran straight at Izuku, about to grab him by his shoulder when he spun around and slapped her across the face, knocking her down to the ground and shocking her and her parents as she held her cheek in pain with tears. Izumi, you hit me. That hurt. Izuku, shut up, you spoilt woman. I'm sick and tired of your constant whining. And you two don't get to tell me what to do or ask questions, cause as far as I'm concerned, we're nothing to each other. Turning around, Izuku left the living and entered his bedroom, closing the door behind him before leaning on it, breathing hard. Izuku, huff huff, I can't believe I just did that. Drake, what was rightfully given, and besides, do you regret it? Izuku looked down. Sure, he hates them all. In fact, he despises them. But at the end of the day, hitting his own sister was never the answer, cause that would lower him to her level. Izuku, no, I just don't like having hit Izumi. He slid down the door and sighed, looking up at his roof, which had mold in every corner and the paint peeling off. Drake, believe me, partner, I know how kind and good you are, but not everyone is like you. And that hit was to send a message that you have changed. Izuku, I guess you're right. Hey, Drake. Drake, yes. Izuku, thank you for being my friend, partner. Drake, it's my honor and my greatest pleasure, partner. Time skip 1 week. Izuku opened a letter over the floor, and a disc dropped on the ground before a hologram shot up. Nizu, am I a mouse, a bear, or a dog? I am the principal of UA Nizu, and you young Yagi placed first in the exam. You have not only broken All Might's highest score, but also made history in the UA entrance exam records. That I welcome you to UA Academy, Izuku Yagi. We are pleased to have you. And as for the class you have been assigned to, you are in Class 1, a welcome to your hero academia. Izuku smiled with tears and jumped into the air with joy. Drake, we did it. Congratulations, partner. I'm so proud of you. Izuku, thanks, buddy. Sniff. Drake, this is just the first step of your journey, Izuku, and from here on we'll go through many trials, but this time together. Izuku nodded with joy and tears. Meanwhile, in the Hyuta house, Rias, yes, thank you, brother. She hung up and turned to her peerage, sitting on the couches of the house, awaiting instructions. Asia, so what did he say? He say, is it about Drake? Rias nodded. My brother had Beelzebub search all of the human worlds for a magic signature resembling Drake's, and he found that the most magical energy resembling the Red Dragon Emperor's was in a city called Mustafa in Japan. Currently, he's sending spies to conduct a recon so we can find Drake. Akino, thank goodness you hear that. Issei, you're going to get Drake back. Issei nodded with a big smile. At home, Izuku was finishing tying his shoelaces at the door of his home and stood up about to leave when he felt a hand grab his shoulder. Turning around, he faced his mother. Inko. Izuku, please wait, sweetie. I and your father want to speak with you. Izuku. No thanks. He put his hand on the doorknob to turn it when he felt it stop turning and felt his hand be forcefully moved away from the door. Inko. I'm speaking to you, young man. Don't you dare turn your back to your moth. Izuku, shut up. He looked down, upset and angry. Izuku, stop acting like you care about me and stop pretending that we're all one big happy family, because we're not, at least when I'm here you're not. Izuku turned around, leaving his gasping mother in shock, and turned the door knob, shutting the door behind him before leaving. Drake, partner, you okay? Izuku, yeah, buddy, I'm fine. After all, today's the day. The day I finally enter my dream school. Drake, haha. Indeed, off to UA we go. Izuku, right? At UA. The acceptance rate that year was just as small as it's always been. 1 in 304 people got in because of their recommendation, and 36 because of the regular exams. We were split into 2 classes of 20 students each. However, due to some circumstances, 1A now has an additional 2 students. Izuku walked down the halls looking for his class 1A. Class 1A, Class 1, I found it. He cheered before realizing something, but the door was huge. Izuku, man, this thing is huge. Are there giants here? The most promising students in the country are waiting behind this door. He imagined Ida, Izumi, and Bakugo's there too. So I hope they're not here too. Drake, don't worry, I'm with you all the way. Smiling, he slid the door open before seeing the 2 he wanted to see least of all, as well as his classmates. Unknown character. Take your feet off the table now. Bakugo. Huh. He smirked pridefully. Unknown character. It's the first day, and you're already disrespecting school property. Bakugo. You're kidding me, right? What did your old school put a stick up your rear, or were you born with it? Izuku looked down and sighed tiredly. Of course, just my luck, he said, watching the 2. Drake. He's intolerable. Unknown character. Let me start over. I'm Tenya Ida from Semi-Private Academy. Bakugo. Semi-ha, so you think you're better than me. I'm gonna have fun tearing you a new one. Ida. Gaspy would threaten me. Your classmate. Are you sure you're in the right place? He asked, taking a step back, as Bakugo scoffed before both noticed Izuku. It's him, Ida said, causing the entire class to turn to look at Izuku, with the Bakugos and Izumi scowling. Izuku, hi. He greeted with a tilted eyebrow. Ida, good morning. My name's Tenya Ida from the Drake. He's like a robot. He approached Izuku sternly. Yeah, I know, I heard you. I'm Izuku, hope we can get along, Izuku replied. Ida, Izuku, so you prefer the first name, then well, okay. You knew there was something more to the exams, you were very perceptive, and I completely misjudged you. As a student, you're far superior to me. Izuku, yeah, I doubt that all I did was what I thought right, so please don't make a big deal out of it. Ida was speechless. He didn't save the girl to get more points, but because he thought it was right, he needed to learn more about being a hero. But then his thought process was interrupted when the girl Izuku, saved in the exams, jumped on Izuku's back, hugging him tight. Unknown character. Hey, it's you. Turning around, Izuku was face to face with the girl he saved. She had brown bub-cut style hair and was fairly cute. She had a permanent blush on her cheeks and was fairly well-shaped with a joyful smile on her face. Izuku thought, hey, it's that girl. She looks good in the uniform. Drake. Oh, does she now? He said teasingly, causing Izuku to blush as the bullies glared at him, but Izuku didn't really notice nor care. Flashback. Bakugo shoved Izuku against the wall. How the hell did you get into UA? We told you not to apply. Suddenly his wrist was grabbed by Izuku, who began squeezing at Bakugo, felt his wrist bending, and looked at Deku, only to shudder at the glare he had. Izuku. Bakugo, someone I look up to told me that I can become a hero. That's why I applied. That's why I'm going, like it or not. You can't stop me. Izuku shoved him away and walked past the 2 shocked girls behind Bakugo. In a flashback. Katsuki thoughts. I'm going to ruin that little monster right after I figure out how he got in. Izumi thoughts. So, it is true you really did make it, brother. Eraserhead. If you're here to make friends, then leave now. The entire class went silent and looked in fear at the man wrapped in a sleeping bag like cocoon on the ground in front of them all. Who is this guy? All thought. Izuku thoughts. Drake, is this some kind of caterpillar monster? Drake. No, in fact, I believe this is a human in what appears to be a blanket of sorts. Unknown character. Welcome to UA's hero course. He unzipped a little, revealing a yogurt packet, and sipping it dry. It took you several minutes to all shut up. He got up and unzipped himself, revealing his full body. That's not going to work. Time is precious. Rational students would understand that. Izuka thoughts. I feel like I know this guy. Unknown character. Hello, I'm Shota Aizawa, your homeroom teacher. The class all looked in shock. Right, let's get to it. Put these on, and let's head outside, he said, pulling out a sports uniform from his bag. Time skip outside with 1A. The class was on the field behind UA. Class 1A what? A quirk assessment test. Unknown character. But orientation, we're going to miss it. Aizawa, if you really want to make the big leagues, you can't waste time on pointless ceremonies. Class 1A gasped in shock. Aizawa, here at UA, we aren't tethered to tradition, so I can run my class however I see fit. You've been taking standardized tests most of your lives, but you never got to use your quirks in physical exams before. The country is still trying to pretend that we're all equal by not letting those with the most power excel. It's not rational. One day, the ministry will learn. Bakugo, you got the second highest record on the exam. How far could you throw with a softball in junior high? Katsuki got angry hearing a second 40 meters, I think, he replied. Aizawa, all right, come here and throw the ball with your quirk. Anything goes, just stay in the circle. Katsuki walked into the circle right in front of Aizawa. All right, you asked for it. He said, I'll add one for all to it. And dropped their jaws, he said to himself, as arcs of a burning orange color flashed around him. Izuka thoughts, what is that? Die. Bakugo shouted, throwing the ball with a powerful explosion, launching in the air. Izuka thoughts, die? He sweat dropped. Aizawa, this is all UA's about, he said, showing them a meter with 705 in it. Unknown character. Whoa, 705 meters, are you kidding me? I want to go, that looks like fun. Unknown character. This is what I'm talking about, using our quirks as much as we want. Aizawa, so this looks fun, huh? He said ominously, you have 3 years here to become heroes. You think it's going to be all games and playtime? Idiots, you'll participate in several tests to determine potential. Those with none will get kicked out instantly. Class 1A. HUH. Aizawa, this is my class, and I'll run it. However, I wonder if you got a problem with that, you can head home right now. Mina, you can't send one of us home. I mean, we just got here. Even if it wasn't the first day, that isn't fair. Aizawa, and you think villain attacks or natural disasters are? Everyone began paying attention to Aizawa as his speech made them think deeper on the word hero. Aizawa, this world is full of unfairness, but it's a hero's job to combat that unfairness. UA is going to push you to the limit, breaking you, so you can go beyond. That's what we mean by going plus ultra. If you're not ready for that, then I suggest you leave. Got to go beyond plus ultra style. Show me it's no mistake that you're here, he told them, making the class gasp. Izuka thoughts, oh my god, he's so cool. Drake snickered at his partner's antics. First test, 50m sprint. The first two to run were Ida and Tsu. Machine, runners on your marks, ready. Bang. Ida ran forward and Tsuyu leapt forward. Ida won though. Ida, 3.04 seconds. Ida, for 50 meters I can only go up to third gear. Tenya Ida. His quirk engine, as you can see, his legs are pretty dang fast. Aizawa, well, he's definitely in his element, but speed can only get him so far. Tsuyu Ajui, 5.58 seconds. The next was Ochako Uraraka and Mashiro Ojiro. Uraraka, I'll lighten up my clothes, and my shoes, she said, tapping her clothes and shoes with her fingers, making them glow pink. Ochako Uraraka, her quirk 0. Gravity. Machine, gets set. Bang. She can nullify the gravitational pull of anything she touches, but if she uses her quirk too much, she totally hurls. Mashiro Ojiro, 5.56 seconds. Ochako Uraraka, 7.15 seconds. The next was Aoyama and Mina. Nice attempts, Manami, but you're just not showing enough panache. Bang. Aoyama jumped up and blasted forward using his laser belly button. Let my powers shine, he shouted. Yuga Aoyama. His quirk naval laser, that's right, a belly button laser. But he can't shoot it forever. He fell to the ground, letting Mina pass him, and then he got up again and lost to her. Yuga Aoyama, 5.51 seconds. Yuga, Shooting my beam for more than a second hurts my tummy. He said, looking at his classmates. Group, what a tool. Aizawa thoughts. Testing the upper limits of their powers helps me assess their room for growth. It becomes clear what they can and can't do. This time, it was Izuku and Katsuki. Machine. Runners on your marks ready. Izuku's thoughts. I can do this. Boost. Bang. Aizawa thoughts. Sometimes pros need to be creative to succeed. Bakugo burst speed. He used his explosions to propel himself when a flash of green passed him at such high speeds. When it stopped, it caused a somewhat large explosion of dust. Everyone looked at Izuku in shock and began murmuring. Izuku Yagi, 2.54 seconds. Bakugo Katsuki, 4.13 seconds. He looked over at Izuku in anger, veins bulging all over his face. Izuku ignored Bakugo's glare and his classmates' talk about him. Even Ida had his jaw dropped that Izuku was faster than him. Izuku clenched his fist. I have to get stronger if I want to become the strongest Dragon Emperor, he said to himself, not realizing Izumi could hear him a little. Rest 2 grip strength. Izuku held the grip test in his hand. Boost. Unknown character. Wow, you hit 540 kilograms. You're such a beast. Unknown character. Octopuses are hot. Boost. Crack. Everyone turned to the sound to see Izuku had destroyed his grip test underneath the boosted gear, shocking them all and making his bullies angrier. Test 3. Standing long jump. Aoyama flew over the pit of sand, Bakugo blasted over it. Izuku jumped close to the end of it, and Izumi flew past it. Test 4. Repeated sidesteps. Mineta used his quirk to bounce side to side at high speeds. Test 5. Ball throw. Uraraka touched the ball with her quirk and threw it, getting infinite, shocking everyone. But Izuku, since, well, she just took off the gravity of the ball, nothing special in his opinion. Now standing in the circle, he held the ball in hand, ready to throw it. Ida, Yagi's beaten us in all, but the repeated sidesteps and standing long jump based on the test, he bested us, and it wouldn't be surprising if he managed to beat us in this as well. Izumi, what, there's no way he could beat us. Bakugo, that guy's a freaking loser who can't do anything. Ida, that's very rude of you, Bakugo, and did you not pay attention to the tests or hear about what he did in the entrance exam? Izumi, huh? The class murmured about him, the number 1 first year, the one who destroyed All Might's record and took down a 0-pointer, blowing it sky high. Izuku, all right, let's do this, partner. Drake, understood. Izuku, boost. Boost. Hearing the 12th boost of the day, Izuku was about to send the throw when Drake, partner, look out. Izuku sidestepped, dodging Aizawa's capture weapon from getting him. Aizawa, impressive, but that doesn't mean you're good enough. You were holding back in every test, weren't you? He asked with his scarf somehow floating with his crimson eyes shining a bright, piercing red. Izuku looked down, confirming Aizawa's question. Aizawa, if you hold back, how will you help people, huh? Will you just become a liability and let them all die? What about the people you care for? Will you let them perish because you didn't use your full strength? Izuku looked down with images flashing through his head of his torment and broken past until they changed to Drake, showing him support and pushing him to become better. Aizawa, I don't care if it's because you're too prideful or because you're afraid. I want to see your true power, so don't hold back again or you'll be expelled. He shut off his quirk, and his scarf went back as Izuku looked down to the ground, clenching his fist. Ida, what do you think he told him? Unknown character. Maybe something encouraging. Uraraka, yeah, it's probably that. Bakugo, or maybe he told him that a quirkless loser like him should leave and stop embarrassing himself. Izuku didn't hear them. All he heard was his heartbeat and clench his fist. Gritting his teeth, he let go of restraint, allowing his emotions to burst from within. Boost, 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 explosion. Izuku arc. Izuku's magic aura burst like a crimson inferno, his aura growing within a second enough to reach the sky with how much power he was generating, causing the rubble to lift off the ground while the emerald gem on his gauntlet shined like a burning star. Izumi's thoughts. What's going on? Katsuki's thoughts. I can't stop shaking. What is this? Drake. That man Aizawa. Was it he, thank you for pushing my partner forward. Now bear witness to a fraction of the power of the Red Dragon Emperor. Izuku-gra. He threw the flame-covered ball with such strength it blasted forward, pushing everyone around Izuku back. So hard they were sent literally flying several meters away, followed by Aizawa. When the smoke cleared around Izuku, and the class could see what had happened, their eyes widened to see him in a 12-foot wide crater in the ground, his entire shirt burned off, revealing his athletic build and the boosted gear no longer on his arm. Izuku. How's that, Mr. Aizawa? He smirked at the shocked man, who took a moment before smirking back, hiding it underneath his scarf. Aizawa, this kid. Meanwhile, the other students were gawking with shock, and before any could say anything, Katsuki launched himself straight at Izuku. Bakugo Deku, what the hell was that, you monster? He was about to hit Izuku, but Izuku sidestepped, dodging the incoming explosion before shoving Bakugo against the ground and going over him, placing his knee against his spine. Bakugo, get off me. Aizawa, normally I'd expel you for attacking another classmate Bakugo, but since it's your first day, I'll give you a chance, Yagi. Please let him go and return with the others. Izuku nodded, quickly getting off of Bakugo and walking to the rest of his class. Meanwhile, Bakugo was growling at Izuku along with his sister and Izumi, who were glaring at him. Bakugo thoughts, girl, find out what. This power is Deku, and when I do, I'll crush you. Meanwhile, watching UA from a building far off, a male with black hair and red eyes was sitting on the edge of the building looking down at the street. Unknown character. You know, Azazel Surzex won't like me not reporting to him about the new Red Dragon Emperor. A magic circle was beside the ear of the ninja, and a voice spoke out of it. Azazel. I know, however, I'd like to see how much this new Dragon Emperor can grow. I believe it'll be something to truly behold. Ninja. Understood, then I'll keep you updated. After the quirk assessment test, everyone in the class got changed and started to head home. Izuku was walking by himself for a while, speaking to Drake while heading to the gates of UA. Izuku thoughts. I can't believe that this entire time, Mr. Aizawa was tricking us, and here I thought I would get kicked out of UA. Drake, really? Why, I mean, you did come in first place, remember? He said, flashbacking back to when Aizawa showed the class rankings with Izuku coming first. Izuku. Yeah, I know, but SD. Suddenly a hand was placed on his shoulder, and his instincts caused him to spin around and grab the hand before seeing it was Ida. Ida, whoa. I apologize for scaring you, Midoriya. I was just wondering if you'd like to walk together. Izuku. Oh yeah, sure, sorry about that, Ida. Ida. Not at all. I jumped up on you. In fact, your reaction just proves to me even more why you're ahead of everyone in class. Izuku blushed, a little embarrassed, being complimented before a small smile found itself on his face. Izuku thoughts. I see now it's not that Ida's a bad person, but he's just too uptight. Drake. That would have been nice to know earlier before I started insulting him. Izuku. Hee. Ida's. What's so funny? Izuku. Oh, nothing. Uraraka. Hey guys, wait up. The two stopped and turned around to see Uraraka running up to them. Ida. Oh, you're the girl with the gravity quirk, right? Uraraka? Uraraka. Yeah, and you're Ida, right? Oh, and you're Deku. Izuku. Deku. Uraraka. Yeah, that's what that guy Bakugo called you, right? Izuku. Yeah, but it's actually a name he uses to bully me. Ida, what? That's unacceptable, Yagi. Uraraka. Sorry, but I thought it was like a short way of saying Dikairohum. Izuku. Well, my name is actually Izuku Yagi, but if you want, you can call me Dikairu. Uraraka. Okay, then Dikairu it is. Izuku smiled at her enthusiasm. I think this is going to be a great year, don't you, partner? He asked Drake, who fully agreed. Time skip. UA Hero Course curriculum. There are normal core classes like English they meet in the mornings. Mike. Now which of these 4 sentences contains a mistake? Class thoughts. So boring. Bakugo thoughts. This sucks. Mike. Come on, everybody look alive. Grammar rules. Izuku raised his hand. YGI. Thank you. Izuku. Number 4. Mike, correct. We eat lunch in the main cafeteria where we could buy pretty tasty stuff on the cheap. Lunch rush. White rice is the perfect comfort food, isn't it? He asked the group consisting of Yagi, Uraraka, and Ida. Uraraka. MHM, this is super good. Drake, oh how I miss being able to eat. Izuka thoughts. Sorry partner. And then in the afternoon, it's finally time for hero basic training. We are here, shouted All Might and Green Tempest coming through the door, one in a bizarre position, the other normally. Both coming through the door like heroes. Class, well, Drake, how is that heroic? Izuka sighed and looked down, seeing one of the people he loathed more than any other. All Might, let's get started, shall we? Welcome to the most important class at UA. I think of it as Heroine 1.0.1 here. You will learn the basics of being a pro. And what it means to fight in the name of good. Let's get into it. In today's lesson, we'll pull no punches. Katsuki, battle. Izumi, training. All Might. But one of the keys to being a hero is looking good. These were designed with your quirks in mind, and the requests you sent in before coming to school. The entire class celebrated their new suits. All Might. After you change head to ground beta. Class 1A. Yes, SIR. Izuku, however, was silent and got up before everyone grabbed their attention as he walked to the door of the classroom about to exit when he felt Inko's hand be placed on his shoulder. Inko. Young Yagi, you haven't picked up your suit. I persona. Slap. Everyone's eyes widened in shock to see Izuku had slapped Green Tempest's hand away. Izuku, I don't need your charity, and quit acting like you care about me, cause we both know you guys don't. He opened the door and left, leaving Green Tempest and All Might frozen in their place. Meanwhile, in the back, Katsuki was grinding his teeth together in rage, and Izumi was clenching her fist so hard that small drops of vital fluid came falling on the floor. Izumi/Katsuki thoughts. Deku, you monster. In ground beta, All Might and Tempest heard footsteps coming. They say the clothes make the pros, young ladies and gentlemen, and behold, you are the proof. Take this to heart. For now on, you are all heroes in training. All Might, this is getting me all ramped up. You all look so cool. Now shall we get started, you bunch of newbies? All Might noticed his wife staring at Izuku, who was wearing his sports uniform without any items to support him or anything that screamed hero suit. It was just a plain sports jacket, which was opened, a black shirt underneath, sports pants with his signature shoes, nothing else. All Might thoughts. So he didn't wear the suit Inko spent a hard time working on. Izuka thoughts. Hey Drake, you sure we don't need a hero costume, I mean? Drake. No, we don't, because once you've grown stronger with the gear, you will unlock something that would put that smiling baboon on his knees, and it also works like a hero suit. Izuka thoughts. Really? I can't wait to unlock it. All Might. Now that you're ready, it's time for combat training. He said to them all. Ida, sir. Izuku turned to Ida, who was in a white armor-like suit, and raised his arm. Oh, so that's Ida under there. Drake. Remind you of someone in particular? Izuku nodded, agreeing that he knew a hero with a similar quirk and suit. Ida, this is the fake city from our entrance exam. Does that mean we'll conduct urban battles again? All Might. Not quite. I'm going to move you 2 steps ahead. Most of the villain fights you see on the news take place outside. However, statistically speaking, run-ins with the most dastardly evils occur indoors. Think about it: backroom deals, home invasions, secret underground lairs. Truly intelligent criminals stay hidden in the shadows. For this training exercise, you'll be split into teams of good and evil and fight 2-on-2 indoor battles. So, isn't this a little advanced? Tempest, the best training is the ones you get on the battlefields, but remember, you can't just punch a robot this time. You're dealing with actual people now. Momo, sir, will you be the one deciding who wins? Bakugo, how much can we hurt the other team? Mina, do we need to worry about the losers getting expelled like earlier? Ida, will you be splitting us up on chance or cooperative skill? Aoyama, isn't this Cape Cray chic? All Might, we haven't finished talking. Drake, and they're supposed to be heroes. Mock Drake, as All Might started again. All Might, listen up, he said, taking out a script, making Izuku look down, unbelieving of the number one hero's stupidity. A script? He thought to himself while Tempest's sweat dropped and looked away nervously. All Might, the situation is this. The villains have hidden a nuclear bomb somewhere in their hideout. The heroes must try to foil their plans to do that. The good guys either have to defeat and capture the villain or recover the weapon. Likewise, the bad guys succeed if they protect the bomb or capture the heroes. Izuku. Sounds like a classic action game setup. Drake. Like those games my previous host used to play, although there was something more than action. He said, recalling Issei playing an action adult game. Inko then lifted a cardboard box with the word lots written on it. All Might. Time's limited and we'll choose teams drawing lots. Ida. Isn't there a better way? Izuku. Ida. Pros often have to team up with heroes from other agencies on the spot, so maybe that's the reason we're seeing that out here. Ida. Yes, I see life is a random series of events, forgive me, Yagi. He bowed, no problem. Izuku replied calmly, let's draw. All Might pumped his fist into the air. Team A, Izuku and Mina. Team B, Shoto and Shoji. Team C, Momo and Mineta. Team D, Bakugo and Ida. Team E, Izumi and Shoka. All Might placed his hands in two different boxes, one white and the other black. Looking for the teams that will versus each other, I declare that the first teams will be these guys. He pulled out teams A and D, coincidentally being Izuku and Bakugo's teams. Dre, what the? There is no way this is coincidence. Tempest. Team A will be the heroes. Team D will be the villain. Everyone else can head to the monitoring room to watch. Everyone. Yes, ma, am. The team selected stood where they were while the others left. Izuku looked over to Bakugo from the corner of his eye to see the guy glaring at him. But instead of whimpering in fear, he glared back, making Katsuki take a step back. But when he realized how he reacted, it only made him angrier. All Might. Bad guys, you can go on in and get set up in 5 minutes. The good guys will be let loose and the battle will start. A/D. Yes, sir. As Ida and Bakugo were on the verge of entering, All Might spoke to them one more time. Young Ida. Young Bakugo, the key to being successful in this challenge is to embody villainy. Bakugo turned to look at Izuku. Think from the perspective of an evildoer. If things go too far, I'll interfere. Ida. Yes, sir. And with that, both of them walked into the building while Mina and Izuku stood outside. Izuku read over the map of the building, looking at it and picturing everything in his mind. Finally, he came up with a plan. Mina, so your name's Izuku Yagi, right? Hey, so you got a plan, partner? She asked cheerily. Izuku. All right, Bakugo will come after me to satisfy his ego. While I'm dealing with him, you go after Ida and find the bomb. Make yourself as undetectable as possible. Mina. Gotcha, but are you sure you can face Bakugo alone? I mean, I know you're really strong and all, but he might do more damage than needed. Izuku. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Mina saw the look in Izuku's eyes. It was a look of determination. She became worried for her teammate. Seeing her distress, Izuku decided to comfort her. Izuku, I appreciate you worrying for me, but I'll be fine, I promise. So let's go out there and do our best. Mina took a moment before smiling. Yeah. She replied, pumping her fist into the air. All Might. All right, let's begin this combat training. Team A going now. Once the match started, Izuku gave Mina the directions of where to proceed once in the building and predicted where the bomb might be. As he had planned, before Katsuki came out from behind a wall with a sneak attack and engaged him in battle. Katsuki was angry, angrier than ever, and now he would vent that anger out, but he didn't expect Izuku to block his attack and grab his arm, then throw him over his shoulder and back first into the ground. Katsuki was left shocked. How did he do that? There's no way, he's not that good, he said in shock at what Izuku had done. Izuku, I told you I'm not going to let you do whatever you want to me anymore, Bakugo, because from today onward, I am no longer Deku. Izuku moved back and watched as Bakugo got up. Bakugo, who the hell do you think you are, Deku? Up until now, you groveling in your boots afraid of me, and Izumi, even now you're shaking, but you still think you can take us. That's why I hate you. Bakugo die. Drake. It's time to kick some Pomeranian butt. Izuku nodded. All right, here goes. Suddenly a transparent aura surrounded Izuku. As the air around him swirled around, he activated Toki. He charged at Izuku, throwing a punch to his face with an explosion ready, but Izuku sidestepped and kneed him in the gut, then high-kicked him in the face, causing his head to slam into the wall next to his head. Izuku then brought out the boosted gear and punched him in the face, then sweep-kicked him off the ground. Boost! Bakugo set off an explosion at point-blank range right at Izuku's eyes, thinking it'd blind him, but instead Izuku's gauntlet hand reached in, grabbing Bakugo by the face and pulling him in. Bakugo saw Izuku's eye glowing with an emerald light, causing him slight fear. Izuku head-butted him and smashed him up onto the roof and back down onto the ground. In the watch room, Kirishima, "Whoa, check out Yagi's moves." Ojiro, "He's kicking Bakugo's, but all over the place." Momo, "Yagi must have had experience beforehand when it comes to fighting." Bakugo die. Boom. Boost. They all turned back to the screen to see Bakugo charge over at Izuku, who clicked his fingers together with an angry expression, triggering an explosion in point-blank range with Bakugo. "Izuku, and that does it," he said, falling to his knee exhausted. "Drake, great work, Izuku." Izuku blushed at the compliment and scratched the back of his head till he remembered Mina was still fighting, so he tapped his earpiece. "Izuku." Mina, do you read me?" he asked. Mina, whispering, "I'm here." Midori. "Izuku, Midori? Art, it doesn't matter, where are you?" Mina, whispering, 3 floors above you." Izuku. "Okay, God, I'm on my way." Izuku grabbed his capture tape and wrapped it around Bakugo's unconscious body before leaving the room, not noticing Bakugo squirming on the ground and his eyes opening slightly. With Mina was hiding behind a wall waiting for an opportunity to attack, but it was getting harder for her to keep her composure due to how serious Ida was taking his role as a villain. "Ida, behold, I am the personification of a villain." "Mwahaha." He laughed with a deeper voice, thinking he was scary, but Mina was about to break out laughing until a hand covered her mouth. She looked up to see Izuku smiling at her, but neither noticed their position. In the watchroom, Yairo's, "Oh my. Izumi, I'm stupid, Deku." Uraraka, meanwhile, was pouting. Most of the males in the class were blushing as Mineta was crying tears of jealousy. "Mineta, curse you, Yagi." With Izuku. Izuku was taller than Mina, and very close the latter began noticing the position. The two were in Izuku's hand over her mouth, her back against the wall, him leaning over her. It was a classic high school makeout scene, causing her to become purple in embarrassment. Drake. "Oh, naughty Izuku. I didn't know my new host was such a ladies' man." Izuku jumped back bright red, nearly compromising his position. Izuku, whispering, "I'm sorry, Mina. I didn't mean to. I just didn't want you to start laughing." "I'm sorry." Mina nodded while looking down, still embarrassed. Izuku, whispering, "Fake cough, we need to focus on beating Ida, Mina, but first we need a plan." Mina nodded, completely agreeing with him. "Okay, what do you have in mind, Midori?" She paid full attention to Izuku, who smirked. "No one POV." Mina walked into the room, causing Ida to face her with his hands on his waist. "Ida, have you come to give up, hero, for you know you can't defeat me?" Mina, "Oh yeah, come me, villain." She taunted him. Ida then charged at her, his legs rocketing him forward, about to grab Mina, when suddenly she jumped to the side, dodging Ida, who attempted to stop fast, but instead slid on the acid underneath his legs, heading to the door, where Izuku punched him in the face with his gauntlet, cracking his helmet. Boost. Its green gem shined bright as Ida was sent skidding back and smashing into the wall behind the bomb. "Izuku, we did it." Drake, "That's how it's done." Izuku, "You too? You were amazing, Mina, great work." Mina nodded with a smile, high-fiving Izuku. Izuku, "After you." He bowed like gentleman, making her giggle. She placed her hand against the bomb and heard All Might announce. "All Might, hero team wins." Mina jumped on Izuku, hugging him tight, pushing her rack against his chest, making him blush. "Mina, this was all you, Midori. I'm so glad you were my teammate." Izuku blushed, but smiled, nonetheless happy for the praise. Izuku, me too, but what's this Midori business?" Mina, "Oh, it's my nickname for you since Midoriya means green, and Midori is a shorter way of saying it." "Why don't you like it?" she asked cutely, making him blush bright red. "No, I do." After that, they separated and Izuku helped Ida up. "Ida, Sai, thank you for the help, Yagi." Izuku, "Sure, it's the least I could do after putting you here." Ida, chuckle, "I must admit you caught me by surprise." Izuku laughed as well, when suddenly he felt a lot of malice. Drake, Izuku, look out. All Might. Young Bakugo, don't do it, you'll kill them. Izuku spun around in shock, staring at Bakugo, who had orange arcs surrounding him, holding the trigger pin of his gauntlet. Bakugo, DE. The flames of the explosion approached the three, who stood there without moving. The sound of Izuku's heartbeat echoed in his ears as the flames' light approached. Izuku, thoughts? I have to move, but then he saw how Mina and Ida didn't move. Izuku, thoughts? Please give me the strength. Izuku stretched out his gauntlet arm, preparing to take the full force of the blast so he could save his friends. Izuku, thoughts? Give me the strength to protect them. Suddenly, an enormous emerald light blinded the eyes of all the students and All Might, as well as the boosted gear evolved. Boost, 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 boost over booster. Explosion. No one knew what to say. They were frozen in place after that previous attack. Something that left them speechless happened. Izuku's gauntlet evolved and erupted with power, firing a dragon shot of pure draconic energy, devouring Bakugo's blast and sending him flying out the building into another. Ida, cough cough, Yagi? Yagi. He screamed when he heard coughing and walked to it to see Mina leaning against a wall. Ida, Mina, are you all right? He ran to her and helped her stand up. Mina, you aren't hurt, are you? He asked, worried. Mina, no, I'm fine, but where's Midori? Ida, I'm not sure, Yagi. He called after a bit. The smoke cleared, and the first thing they saw was the area where Bakugo was once standing had been turned to rubble, destroyed to the point that the metal in the roof was coming down onto the floor. They narrowed their eyes, seeing a figure appearing as the smoke dispersed, and when it finally went, their eyes widened to see Izuku standing in the same position he was in when he fired the blast earlier, but with smoke coming off his clothes that were torn and covered in dirt. Izuku stumbled forward before falling down to the ground, not moving a single inch. Ida, Yagi. They ran over to Izuku to see that he was still breathing, but only barely. Mina. Oh no, Midori. Ida. All Might, help us. All Might, help us. All Might immediately dashed in and was shocked by the state of Izuku. All Might, thoughts. I wanted to find out how Izuku gained his powers, but I didn't want this. Forgive me, my boy. Picking Izuku up slowly, he dashed away. Time skip. Izuku blinked once, twice, and then 3 times, full opening his eyes. He saw himself underneath an unfamiliar roof. Where am I? He asked himself. Drake. We're in the UA infirmary, partner. Izuku, Drake? What happened? Drake. You took on the full force of Bakugo's blast and evolved the boosted gear. I guess that zapped away all your stamina. Izuku. I guess, sigh. Izuku sat up, feeling his body ache. Effort. He took a deep breath, trying to relax himself. Drake. Are you all right, partner? Izuku. Yeah, I am, but I can't help but wonder what happened to Bakugo. That orange electricity that surrounded him when he attacked us. His quirk can't do that. Do you think it was that man's quirk? Drake. Indeed, the quirk of your trash farther passed on to an unfit user. Recovery girl. Oh, you awake, dearie? Izuku turned his head to the right to see Recovery girl enter the room. Izuku. Yeah, thanks for taking care of me, Recovery. Recovery? Oh, it's fine, sweetie, that's my job after all. But you should be more care. You did get seriously injured when you took that other boy's attack. That's why I'd like you to come back to my office tomorrow, so I can heal you up, but for now, head back to your class. Izuku. Right, thanks, Recovery. He bowed and left the room. With Izuku made it to his class and took a deep breath, preparing himself for what was to come. Izuku. Well, here goes. Drake. Good luck, partner. Izuku opened the door and walked in, only to be crowded by his classmates as soon as he opened the door. Unknown character. Yagi, you were so cool and manly out there. I'm Ejiro Kirishima, by the way. Unknown character. Dude, you were so awesome out there. I'm Hantasiro. Unknown character. It's nice to meet you. I'm Tsuyu Ajui. I hope we can be friends, Karo. Unknown character. Mon Amy, I am. Mina. Are you okay, Midori? Nothing hurts, does it? She asked, grabbing his arm. Unknown character. Hi, I'm Mineta. What do you like the most in a woman? Izuku was being overwhelmed while his entire class introduced theme selves to him. The door on the other side of the room opened to reveal Uraraka and Kaminari walking in with a stack of paper. "Hey, after this, why don't we grab something to eat? What do you like?" Kaminari asked her. Uraraka, "Sorry, but I huddy Kairu." Uraraka ran to Izuku and hugged him tight. "I was so worried, don't you ever do that again." Alongside Uraraka came Ida in a hurry, checking Izuku out for any wounds. "Ida, Yagi, how are you feeling? Does it hurt anywhere?" Ida was checking Izuku's body to see if he was okay, which thankfully he wasn't despite the aching feeling around his body. Feeling that he worried Mina, Uraraka, and Ida, a lot, Izuku looked down upset with himself. "Izuku, I'm sorry for worrying you guys, please forgive me." Bowing his head, Izuku expected them to be angry at him, but instead they smiled at him. "Ida, don't worry about it, Yagi, we're just glad you're safe." Uraraka, "Yeah, but seriously, don't ever do that again." Izuku smiled when he felt Mina tug on his sleeve. It's not polite to ignore a girl, Midori. Izuku blushed and apologized to Mina. When he noticed something, "Hey, where's Bakugo and Izumi?" he asked them. "Ojiro. Oh, they left the class a few minutes before you woke up." Izuku, "I see. Drake, you aren't going to go after those two, are you?" Izuku smiled. "No way." Drake smiled back, proud of his partner's growth. Time skip. On the next day, Izuku had come to school, but he had a heck of a day yesterday. Living at his home became harder than ever, especially with his sister and the Bakugos. It was like he would never catch a break. But now he was facing his greatest enemy yet. The news. Women. "Hey, can you tell us what it's like to work so closely with All Might?" "Well, you're handsome. What's your name?" she asked flirtatiously. Izuku, "Sorry, but I'm going to be late." Drake, "Wow, this woman should be arrested hitting on someone younger than her." Izuku agreed with him as he moved past them and walked into the school building. This time, they crowded Uraraka. "Unknown character. Are you one of All Might's students? Tell us, what's the symbol of peace like in person?" Uraraka, "What's he like?" "Well, he's super muscly, yeah." This time it was Ida's turn. "Women, how is he faring as a teacher? What are you learning?" Ida, "His leadership and wisdom remind me daily that I'm learning at one of the most prestigious educational institutions. Of course, he's the personification of heroism that one would expect, but he's also not afraid to show his students a more humorous side. It's truly a unique opportunity to be under the direct tutelage of the pro we all admire." Ida continued on boring the reporters before he left, and Aizawa took his place. "Women, please, sir, can you get All Might for us? Also, you look like a mess. What's your deal?" Aizawa, "All Might's not on campus today. Now get out of here. You've disturbed my students enough already." Aizawa walked away into the school as the reporters complained about their trash responses. "Women, we just want to know how he's adjusting to life here as a teacher," she shouted as the other reports shouted and protested. "Man 1, I've seen that guy before, but where?" Women, "I don't know, but he seems too scruffy to be a teacher." Aizawa, "Thoughts? How does All Might ever get anything done with this riffraff?" Women, "All right, if you won't bring All Might out, I'll get him myself," she said, walking in. Man 2, "Well, hold on." Beep beep. The alarm on the top of the gate beeped red twice before slamming down, nearly squashing the woman, but she jumped back and fell on her, but in fear. Women, "Hey, what's happening?" Man 2, "Don't you know about the school's defenses? This gate is the UA barrier." Women, "Defenses? It practically killed me." Man 2, "Yeah, well, it's designed to stop anyone who doesn't have a student ID or teacher pass from entering the school. Guess it works." Women, ugh. Man 2, "There's sensors like this all over the place." Women, "Keeping the public out like this school thinks it's untouchable. The least they can do is grant me one interview." All the reports agreed with her complaining as well, angry off. The news that that man was a teacher at UA spread like wildfire. The nation was shocked completely by this turn of events. Everyone heard of him becoming a teacher, and I mean everyone. Time skipping class. Aizawa, "Decent work on yesterday's combat training. You guys, I saw the video feeds and went over each of your team results, but Kugo, you're talented, so don't you sulk like a child after your victory, okay? And if you do something like that again, I'll make sure you never become a hero. Got it?" Katsuki, "Gronya, whatever." Aizawa, "And Yagi, you did. Well, I'm proud of you, but next time don't throw yourself into danger like that." Try to find a better way, so you don't get hurt. Other than that, great work. Keep striving to improve. Izuka nodded with a smile. Yes, sir. Drake, I like him. Aizawa. Good. All right, now, let's get down to business. Your first task will decide your future. Everyone froze in fear. Is it another quirk assessment test? They all wondered. Aizawa, you all need to pick a class representative. Everyone's thoughts. Oh, so just your normal school things. They thought in relief. Kirishima, pick me, guys. I'll be the best rep. Mineta, me, I'll be perfect. Mina, me. Toru, I'm the perfect choice. Izumi, pick me. Kaminari, I'll be the rep. Jiro, you're gonna need me. Mineta, if you choose me, I'll make the girls' skirts 10 cms shorter. Katsuki, I pick me. Loser. Class rep would just deal with regular school stuff, but in UA, it helps our reputation grow to prove we have what it takes to be leaders, and that will do a lot in the hero business. Drake, they're all so loud. Ida, silence everyone, please. The class representative's responsibility is to lead others. It's something everyone can do. They must first have the respect of every student in the classroom. Therefore, the most logical way to make this decision is democratically. We will hold an election to choose our leader. He said with his hand raised the highest. Everyone's thoughts? It's pretty obvious you want us to vote for you. Kaminari, is this the best idea? Azui, we've only known each other a few days. How will we know who to vote for? Kirishima, and won't most people vote for themselves? Ida, most will, but that's why this is the best way to vote, right, sir? Aizawa, do what you want, but don't interrupt my nap. He said, falling to the ground in his sleeping bag. Ida, thank you for your trust. After a couple of minutes of voting, Izuka won, with 9 votes for the position of class president and Momo as a deputy with 2 votes. But right now, we find our incredible hero in the lunch hall with Ida and Uraraka. Ida, I must say, Yagi, you will make a great class president. Uraraka happily ate her rice while nodding. Uraraka, so anyway, tell us, Kairu, since you're the new class president, how do you feel? Izuku, honored and slightly overwhelmed. I'm just scared I might not be good enough, but I've been meaning to ask, did you vote for me, Ida? Ida nodded. Ida, among all the other students, you and Yaoyorozu were the only choices I thought were right for the position. Izuku, why though? Ida, you alone showed the most care for our classmates. Out of everyone, you even protected me and Mina at the risk of your own life. So I knew no one better than you to become the class president. Uraraka, that's right. Izuku smiled at his friends and Drake, who couldn't help but chuckle, enjoying the sight of his partner figure being complimented for the incredible person he is. Mina, hey, I voted for you too, Yumini. She pouted, cutely coming to the table, holding a tray of food. Izuku, Mina, giggle, hey, there, Midori, do you mind me and my friend here sitting with you guys? Toru, hi guys. You don't mind us sitting here, do you? Izuku, oh hi Toru, and not at all. What about you guys? He asked Ida and Uraraka. Ida, not at all. Uraraka shook her head. Great. Mina cheered, sitting beside Izuku while Toru sat next to Uraraka. Mina, oh by the way, Midori, why does Bakugu call you Deku all the time? Izuku, it is an insult for me when I was quirkless. Why do you ask? Ida, that's still shameful behavior, unfit for a student of UA. It's unforgivable. Uraraka, well, it's a good thing we changed that to Kairu, right? She asked happily to Izuku, who nodded before feeling his arm being nudged and turned his head to face Mina. Mina, yeah, but you like my nickname better, don't you, Midori? She said the last name in a cheeky tone, making him blush bright red, but also making Uraraka pull his other arm. Uraraka, hey, he likes mine better. Mina, no mine. Uraraka, no mine. Uraraka/Mina. Whose do you like better, Midori/Kairu? Suddenly bell rang, and every student began running away in the cafeteria, panicking. Izuku, oh thank God. Drake, talk about the perfect timing. Toru, what's going on? Ida, is this a villain attack? Izuku grabbed a student who was running past him and questioned him, hey, what's happening? He questioned him, it's the security alarm, it never goes off. Izuku let him go running and was then dragged away by the crowd. Ow! Help! Izuku found himself slammed against the window of the hall. Everyone was running through, stomping on each other, shoving and hitting each other, when he noticed that it wasn't a villain attack, it was the media breaking into the school. Izuku thoughts, I have to get out of here, but what can I do? Turning his head slightly, he spotted Yaoyorozu in the same situation as him. That's it. He shouted with an idea. Izuku, Yaoyorozu. The girl turned her head to face Izuku Yagi. She replied, facing him, I have an idea, but I need your help. Can you make something that will allow everyone to hear me? He asked as she nodded. Yaoyorozu, yeah, just give me a few seconds. Yaoyorozu lifted up her shirt, revealing her belly as a light shined from it, and created a microphone and done. She handed the blushing Izuku a microphone. Izuku took it and placed it next to his mouth. Thanks, Yaoyorozu. Hey, everyone stop freaking out. There is no villain attack. It's just the press. Look at what you're doing, running away like cowards. We're training to be heroes. So start acting like it. After he shouted that everyone stopped freaking out and began helping each other before leaving. Izuku. Well, that took a lot out of me. Drake. Yes, but you managed to break them all out of their state of fear. Well done, partner. Izuku. Thanks, Drake. He said before heading over to his classroom. Time skip. Izuku was swarmed by his classmates after getting to class. Kirishima. Midori, bro. I can't believe you did that. It was so manly. Kaminari, yeah, man. If it wasn't for you, we would have been squashed like bugs. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Midori. You were really tough out there, Tiger. Mina said close to his face with a flirty tone as Izuku blushed a bit and asked her to back up a little. Mina, could you please back up a little? You're kind of close. Uraraka pouted at Mina, who was giggling while making fun of Izuku. Meanwhile, in Kuo, Issei. So have you guys found anything about where Drake could be? I bet my partner is just desperately missing me. Rias. I'm sure he is Issei, but we need to be patient. It's bad enough Kokobio broke out of his prison. Akino. Yeah, he could strike at any time, and we won't have the Red Dragon Emperor's power to deal with it. We need to stay vigilant. Kiba. I'm sure we'll find Drake. Soon we just need more time, Issei. Zenobia nodded and looked out the window. I wonder, how did the Red Dragon Emperor leave Issei, and how strong did they have to be to take him away? Back with Izuku. Izuku walked towards the door to his home and took a moment before placing his hand on the doorknob. Izuku. Here we go again. Drake. Now, partner, maybe it won't be so bad. Izuku. Let's hope you're right, partner. Izuku turned the doorknob and opened the door, walking inside to see his Inko cooking, Tashinori sitting on the kitchen table reading his newspaper, and Izumi next to the Bakugos on the couch. Katsuki being the first to notice he entered the house. Katsuki. A look who walked in. Hi, Deku. Inko. Oh, welcome home, sweetie. You hungry? Izuku. No. He continued on his way to his room when he felt a hand roughly grab his wrist. Turning his head, he saw it was Tashinori. Izuku, can I help you? He asked, nervously disliking the feeling of Tashinori's hand gripping his wrist. Tashinori. Son, we've been wondering, how is it you got your quirk? Izuku. Just by chance, I guess. Please let me go. Izuku pulled his hand out of Tashinori's grasp and quickly walked away before All Might stood in front of him, a result of Tashinori buffing up. All Might, I wasn't asking you. You will tell us now, Izuku. All Might had a glare on his face, one that was threatening and scared Izuku a little. Izuku, please just let me through. Inko, I think it's best we know, Izuku, this is for your own good after all, sweetie. Inko walked over to Tashinori's side, while Izumi stood behind Izuku next to Bakugo. Izumi, you know, Deku, you should tell us where you got your quirk from. After all, a quirkless loser like you doesn't just get a quirk as strong as the one you currently have. Izuku thoughts, what do I do? Drake, help me please. Tashinori, tell us now. He raised his voice at Izuku before grabbing him by his collar and raising him up into the air. Izuku, let me go. Tashinori, tell me. Izuku, let go of me. Tashinori, I told you to. Izuku, let go. Suddenly, Izuku's aura burst out with crimson and purple energies overlapping each other, sending Tashinori flying into the wall behind him. When the aura dispersed, it revealed Izuku's boosted gear, A-keeped, but the air around it was so heated that it became blurry. The group around him looked at Izuku in shock, but it didn't last long as he ran out the house as fast as he could. Izuku thought, Sarg. He shouted to himself, running away with tears in his eyes. Drake. Izuku, let's calm down, okay? I'm always here with you, remember that. Izuku, Drake, Drake. I know, but right now, we need you to relax. Come, let's head to the beach. Izuku, okay, sniff. Drake, thoughts. Curse you, Yagi family. I swear I'll make you pay for this. Aizawa stood in front of the class, explaining what the entire class would be doing for today's activities. Aizawa, today's training will be a little different. You'll have 4 instructors, including myself, and All Might will be supervising you. The class was left in shock. Izuku's thoughts. 3 pros, is it because of the break-in? Izumi. So what kind of training are we going to be doing, Mr. Aizawa? Aizawa. Rescue. You'll be doing different rescue training simulations in shipwrecks or natural disaster stuff like that. The class all began murmuring in excitement. Aizawa. Guys, I'm not finished yet, he said as the class shut their mouths instantly. Aizawa. What you wear will be up to you. I know you're excited about costumes. Beep. He pressed a bottom, causing the suitcases containing their hero suits to come out. Aizawa. But keep in mind you're still new to them, so they may affect your abilities. This training is on an off-campus facility, so we'll be using a bus to get there. That's all. Start getting ready. As the entire class got up to leave and get changed, Aizawa stared at Izuku, narrowing his eyes. Yagi. Flashback. Aizawa walked into the classroom, expecting it to be empty, when he saw Izuku sleeping on his desk table now. It was early in the morning, so he could understand the boy being early and tired. However, it didn't explain the dirt on his face or the bags under his eyes. Could something have happened to him on the way to UA? Or did he not get any sleep last night? In a flashback. Aizawa, thoughts? What is going on with you, kid? Time skipped to the outside of UA. Everyone changed into their hero costume, but Izuku changed into his gym uniform. Now, they were all outside, waiting in front of the bus that would take them to the USJ for their training. Ida was blowing a whistle and shouting at Class 1A to form 2 lines, which made everyone's sweat drop. That. Drake, you think he forgot your class president? Izuku, not sure, but there's a good chance of that. Drake stayed silent, feeling something big was coming, but while he worried about that, Izuku had no time to waste as he had to get onto the bus. Ida, the bus's open layout completely ruined my plan, he said, depressed. Ochako, Ida, did you forget you're not the class president? Because last time we checked, the class president was Dikaru. You really need to chill. 2. If we're pointing out the obvious, then there's something I'd like to say to you, Actually, she said, turning to face Izuku. Izuku, to me? What is it, Azui? Azui. I told you to call me Tsu. Izuku, we are right. Azui. That power of yours, isn't it a lot like All Might's? Izuku. No, it isn't. Kirishima. Wait, hold on a sec. You're forgetting All Might doesn't have that gauntlet on his arm and can't explode people. He also can shoot those energy blasts that Yagi can. Oh, there's also that boost sound every time Yagi uses his quirk. Hey, Yagi, I've been meaning to ask, what is that boost sound every time your quirk is active? Izuku. Oh, well, my quirk is something similar to a sentient being like Tokoyami's quirk. Kirishima. Whoa, seriously, that's incredibly cool, dude. Tokoyami. Indeed, it's nice to see another person with a quirk similar to my own. I hope to have a good year with you, Yagi. Izuku. Yeah, me too, but for now we should think about what we'll go up against at the USJ. It's sure to be something difficult, so we need to prepare. Ida. Indeed, you're right. We must prepare for such a thing. Kirishima. Oh man, I'm getting excited just thinking about it. Mina, right? The USJ, it sounds so cool. I wish we could go faster. Izuku. Hehe, me too, but for now, we should relax until we get there. Drake. Sai, yes, it's true. The best way to prepare for something is calmly. I'm glad to hear that you were paying attention to my lessons, Izuku. Kirishima. Hey man, you're pretty lucky to have such a flashy quirk, unlike me compared to Bakugo, your sister, Todoroki, and you who have flashy quirks. Mine is a simple hardening. I don't think I will be able to become a popular hero. Izuku. Hey, I think your quirk is good. I mean, unlike all of us, you have such incredible defensive abilities like a human shield, a wall that protects people. It's super cool. Kirishima. Hey, yeah, you're right, man. Thanks, Yagi, you're a super manly dude. He smiled at him with his sharp teeth. Izuku. No problem, Kirishima. I'm glad to help. So, you're always so kind, Yagi. Ida. Indeed, it just comes to show how right we were to put you as our class president. Izuku. He laughed sheepishly due to the attention he was getting. Meanwhile, in the back, Izumi clicked her tongue angrily next to Bakugo, who was growling. Momoya, but kindness will only get you so far, remember? It's also about intelligence and skill, and quite frankly, I don't see how you compare to me in those regards. No offense, of course, Yagi. Some people in the class were agreeing with her since she was smart, but this didn't sit well with some others. Uraraka. Hey, Yaoyorozu, you don't even know Dika. Well, maybe he could be as smart or even smarter than you. Mina. She's right, so stop being such a brat, because Midori was picked over you. Mina and Toru agreed to high five Uraraka while Momo glared at them. Yaoyorozu. Oh, yeah, then I challenge Yagi right now. Aizawa. That's enough. We're here. Yaoyorozu, don't rile them up. Now, all of you, I want you to focus on your upcoming training and the lessons you will gain from here. Also, Yagi, don't let what others say get to you. You're a good student, smart too. He smiled at Izuku, who nodded happy with the praise. Izuku. Right, thanks, sir. Sorry, princess. Maybe we can settle this some other time over some tea. Momo was furious due to him calling her princess. The last time someone called her princess was when a prideful rich boy was flirting with her, but when Yagi called her princess, it was like him calling her out as some rich girl who had no chance against him. She decided at that moment that she will give him a piece of her mind one day. Kyuka. While I'm impressed, he managed to anger the calmest girl in our class. She said while Draig was laughing his guts out. This is what he hoped would happen to Rias in some point of her life. In Kuo, Rias, Achu, back at the USJ. Standing in front of the Pro Hero 13 was Class 1A with their teacher Aizawa, but Izuku's attention was diverted, focusing the strange feeling that something was coming. 13. Hello everyone, I've been waiting for you, said the space hero, causing both classes but Izuku to gasp in awe. 13. I can't wait to show you what's inside. Everyone, Izuku. This is going to be awesome. Inside the building, the entire class awed at all the sights before them. 13. A shipwreck zone, a landslide, a fire, a windstorm, ECT. I created this training facility to prepare you to deal with different types of disasters. I call it the unforeseen. Simulation. Joint, or USJ for short. Aizawa walked up to 13. Hey, shouldn't All Might be here already? Let me guess, he booked an interview instead. 13. Actually, it's something else. Apparently, he did too much hero work on the way to work today, she said while holding up 3 fingers. Aizawa. Of course he did that. That man is at the height of irresponsibility, but we should be able to manage. 13 nodded. 13. Okay now, then before we get started, let me just say one thing, or maybe 2, possibly 3 for a 5. Everyone, we get it. 13 raised her hand. Listen carefully, I'm sure you're aware of my powerful quirk called Black Hole. I can use it to suck up anything and turn it to dust. Uraraka. Yeah, you've used that quirk to save tons of people, haven't you? 13. That's right, but my quirk could also be used to kill some of you. Have quirks with the same lethal power, and it's easy to forget that quirks can always be used to cause harm, what with how heroes are being trained every day. So we can overlook how dangerous they can be. It doesn't matter what action you're taking, you can always cause harm. If losing focus for a single moment thanks to Aizawa fitness test, you have a solid idea of what you are vaguely capable of. Please think of how dangerous you can be if using these quirks against other people. Take these lessons to heart today. You will learn how quirks can be used to save people, not to fight. After all, that's what being a hero is all about, ensuring the safety of others. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening. Draig. Izuku. Izuku heard Draig's scream of worry and then felt a ringing pain in his head. Izuku. Draig, what's going on? He asked. Draig. There's danger. I can feel it coming. You can too. Izuku's eyes widened as the tingling in his head rang more than before. Where? He asked when the lights around the USJ began to flicker and dark swirls began to form in front of the water fountain at the center of the facility. The water stopped coming out as the villains began to enter the facility. Draig, there. Kirishima. Will they even have fake villain? Aizawa, no. Izuku, not fake real. He said, causing the classes and teachers to look at him in shock, knowing that he too realized the danger of the situation. Aizawa, stay together and don't move. 13, protect the students. Everyone gasped. Kirishima, well, what is that thing? I thought we were rescuing people. Aizawa, stay back. he shouted as the class gasped once more. Aizawa put his goggles on and glared down at the villains. This is real, those are villains, he said, shocking the class that Izuku was right. Izuku thoughts. Mr. Aizawa, you can't stop them, not alone. Down with the villains. Hero Jerry. The only real heroes I see here are Eraserhead, Vlad King, and 13. This is perplexing. From the schedule we retrieved from UA, All Might should be here, said the mist villain. Shigaraki. Well, if the number one isn't here, we'll force him to come by killing all these brats and those heroes. Shigaraki. Kirojiri, spread them out now. Kirojiri nodded and left towards the students. Aizawa and 13 stood in front of the class when they noticed Izuku standing in front of the staircase. Aizawa, Yagi, get back with the students and guide them outside. I'll hold them off. The pro rushed down the stairs towards the villains, but Kirojiri passed him before he could stop him, allowing him to reach the class. Kirojiri, it's a pleasure to meet you. We're the League of Villains. I know it's impolite, but we decided to invite ourselves in this haven of justice to say hello. And besides, isn't this a fitting end for All Might, the symbol of peace? I believe he was meant to be here today, and yet I see no sign of him. There must have been a change of plans that we have not foreseen. Oh, well, in the end, I suppose it doesn't matter. I still have a role to play. 13 was about to use her quirk when Katsuki and Kirishima charged in. Izuku, Ino, stop, he shouted before the villain warped them away. Izumi, Kachan. Everyone, Kirishima. Izuku, those idiots. 13, move, she shouted as the villain used his quirk to wrap around them. Gusts of wind blew them back as the larger students used their bodies to protect their friends. Some students began disappearing and being sent to different places. With Izuku, Izuku found himself on top of the shipwrecked sun, falling into the water. He screamed as he sunk a bit, with bubbles of air escaping his mouth. Regaining his balance, Izuku looked around water. He must have a warping quirk. They came here to kill All Might, but where is he? Villain. Oh, the food bait has arrived. Izuku looked beneath him to see a villain with a more shark-like appearance approaching him with his mouth wide open. Nothing personal, kid, but you gotta die. He was about to bite down on Izuku when Tsu slammed down on his head. Tsuyagi. She launched her tongue at Izuku, wrapping it around his waist and pulling him along with Mineta to the boat, placing Izuku on the deck gently. Mineta, for a frog you got pretty big, racked Tsu. Perfect floaty sumph. He leaned his head against her melons, making her blush, and used her tongue to smash him against the deck up top before climbing into the deck herself. Izuku, you saved my life, Azui. Tsu, I told you to call me Tsu. Izuku, oh right, sorry, Tsu, it just slipped my mind. Azui, this is turning out to be a terrible day of class. Izuku agreed. Izuku, yeah, I keep thinking about what that villain said. They knew our whole schedule and who would be here. They must have gotten into school files while we were all stuck in the cafeteria. The teachers were trying to get the media off of school grounds. That means they've been waiting for the perfect time to attack, just like Todoroki said. Mineta, hey, hold on a second. That doesn't mean those villains can really kill All Might. When he comes, he'll pound those villains until there's nothing left. Tsu, think about it though. If the villains planned so much time planning this attack, then they've probably figured out a way to kill him. Izuku gasped. And didn't you hear what they smoke guy said? Maybe we should worry more about not being tortured to death, otherwise we might not survive long enough to see All Might again, and even if he did show up, who knows if he'll make it out in one piece. Mineta, know the pros are going to save us, right? He asked Yagi while pointing at Tsu. Tell the frog to shut up. Tsu ribbit. Suddenly the villains began approaching the boat. Villain 4, you guys, I'll enjoy eating you. Mineta, bad guys. He shouted in fear as the villains surrounded the boat. Drake, now don't do anything rash, Izuku, we're surrounded. Had it just been us, we could easily have gotten out of this situation. However, we're not alone, so the best thing we could do right now is make a plan. Izuku clenched his fist in anguish. Izuku thought, he's right, what can I do though? I could call Regulus, but my classmates will be caught in the blast at all. Izuku flashbacked to when he amounted to nothing, to the lowest point of his life. Izuku thoughts, I'm not weak anymore. I refuse to return to who I was. I made a promise. He looked at his classmates who were afraid. Mineta, showing it more than two. No matter what I need to do, I'll save them, that I swear. Izuku, there's no need to worry. He told them, standing up as he walked towards the front of the deck to stare at the villains underneath. Izuku, if they can beat him, then we have to stop whatever it is these bad guys are planning, and to do that we need to work together. No one in UA knows what's happening. It's up to us. Let's be heroes. In the landslide zone, Ice crawled up towards 3 villains, freezing them in place. Shoka, aren't you embarrassed losing to a child? For God's sake, you're adults. Put up a real fight, she said maliciously. In the collapse zone, Katsuki-gra, he shouted, sending an explosion at one villain, knocking him out, with Kirishima standing behind Katsuki. Unknown character. We're gonna kill you brats. In the landslide zone, Momo, Jiru, Kaminari, Katsumi, and Izumi were fending off the villains. In the fire zone, fires are all over the city, with Ojiro and Kurwaro fending off several villains. In the squall zone, Tokoyami and Koda were surrounded by some villains. At the entrance, the rest of the students were behind 13 as they were surrounded by the mist villain. At the entrance, Shoji used his eyes and ears to search the USJ. Ida, Shoji, have you found anyone yet? Shoji, they've been scattered around the facility, but our classmates are still here. Everyone, few. After sighing in relief, they turned to look at Kirojiri. Zero, what do we do? 13, Ida. Ida, yes. 13, I have a mission for you. Head to UA and request backup. The alarms aren't working, and our radios and phones are useless now. It's most definitely a villain's doing. An eraser has been canceling quirks left and right, but we are still completely sealed off in the outside world. It's likely whoever is causing this interference is that person. It'll be faster if you leave and get us some help. Ida, but I'd be a disgrace to leave you behind. Uraraka, no, you wouldn't. We need your help, Ida, please. Ida looked down, thoughtful, before nodding his head. Uraraka, I can help you out. Ida took a running stance and began heating up his engines. Kirojiri, even if you're heroes in training and pros, are you really foolish enough to strategize in front of your enemy? He asked, sending tendrils of his warp energy at the group. 13, it doesn't matter what you say. What matters is stopping you. 13 pointed at him, and the lid on her index finger opened, making her quirk suck the warp villain in and stop him from moving. 13, black hole. Kirojiri, F it. Shoji then jumped over Kirojiri, holding him underneath his arms to prevent him from stopping Ida. With Izuku, Mineta, what do you mean fight? Are you crazy? These guys are here ready to kill All Might, and you think we could beat them? Did you hit your head when you warped here? The best plan for us is to wait for a real pro from UA to come and save us. He shouted, panicking with a waterfall of tears. Izuku, think about it. Those villains clearly have an advantage in the water and assume that we will fight them in there. Mineta, are you even listening? So, in that case, they must have known what's inside the USJ before they came here. Izuku, you're right. For a group with such careful planning, there's something that sticks out to me, something that just doesn't add up. They sent you here, Azui. So you ribbit. Izuku, oops, I mean TS Suyetsu. So, that kind of fell apart on you, didn't it? Izuku, a little. Mineta, but why does it matter that she's here? Izuku, oh, you're right. The villains probably don't know what our quirks are. Think about it. If they had known, they never would have sent Sue here. So you ribbit. Izuku, they probably separated us because they didn't know what we could do and planned to overpower us. When we were in smaller groups, easier to pick us off one by one. We can use that to our advantage, cause for all they know, the 3 of us could be super powerful. Look, none are trying to climb into the boat. That proves my point. Sue, so let's talk quirks. The 2 crouched down to Mineta's height. 2, I'll go first. Obviously, I can jump high and cling to pretty much any wall, and of course with my tongue, I stick it out about 20 meters. Oh yeah, I can spill out my stomach to clean it, but it isn't very useful. Also, I secret a toxic mucus. It just stings a bit. Mineta, thoughts, gasped the great mucus. 2, we can probably use only my jumping and tongue in this situation. Izuku, I thought you were strong, but that's crazy. Mineta, I've got these sticky quirk. Their strength varies. Depending on how I'm feeling, they can stick for a whole day, and they don't stick to me. I just bounce right off of them. The two just looked at him with deadpan expressions, causing him to cry out like a baby again when a massive arm of water split the boat in half, making the group fall down. Izuku, WAH. Villain. I'm staring to get bored. Let's get this show on the road, shouted one of the villains underwater. 2. That's a great power, but now the ship's sinking. Mineta, he screamed, throwing his sticky quirk into the water, crying. Izuku, you need to calm down, Mineta. Mineta wa. He pointed to the water, crying. Izuku, they're going to guess your quirk. Izuku looked down, shocked to see the villains afraid of Mineta's quirk, pushing them away. Izuku thoughts, they're too scared to touch them. Mineta fell back to the wall where fish food he shook. So Mineta, are you sure being a hero is the right fit for you? Mineta, shut up. Is it weird or not to freak out right now? We just got out of junior high just a few days ago. I didn't think we'd be facing death as soon as we start in UA. I can't believe I'm going to die without getting to touch Yaoyorosa's rack. Izuku grabbed Mineta by his cape and lifted him off the ground with a glare and his eyes glowing green. Listen up, you pathetic excuse for a grape. Shut your mouth and stop acting like we're going to die. I have a plan, and you'll follow it to the letter, and if I hear another word about Yaoyorozu from you, I'm going to feed you to them on a silver platter. Got it? Mineta nodded shakily, and Izuku dropped him. Hey, Yagi Uoka, who started before they all noticed Izuku was shaking in fear, but hiding it. Izuku, we can beat them, and I know just the way to do it. Are you ready? They looked at him in shock. Villains. Hee, poor babies, they're just crying for their mummies up there. Villain. Hey now, don't forget Shigaraki told us to keep our eye out. They could do anything, but I'm not worried here. We have the advantage. He said, creating another hand made of water. Is that so? They looked up to see Izuku looking at them with a glare, his foot on the bow. Mineta, what the heck are you going to do? Izuku looked back at them from the corner of his eye and clenched his fist, punching it upwards. He shouted, boosted gear, a green pillar of pure energy burst into the air as Izuku's new boosted gear revealed itself. Its green gem shining brightly. Mineta thoughts. He's shaking. He's just as scared as I am. Two, however, remained speechless at the sight of the boosted gear. Meanwhile, Izuku prepared to jump off. Boost! Izuku ran forward and left of the boat towards the villains, reeling his arm back. Boost! Izuku! Let's go, partner. Drag, right? Putting his gauntlet, index finger, and thumb together, he flicked a blast of air, so immensely powerful it sent a high-pressured blast of air into the water, creating a whirlpool, sucking the villains in. The villains screamed as they were pulled into the center of the water, quickly jumped off the boat, and used her long tongue to grab Izuku as she held on to Mineta while she launched herself away. Time skip. The group were sitting on the shore near the water. So what's our next move? Izuku. So you guys will meet everyone back at the top of the USJ. Mineta, what do you mean you guys are coming with us? Izuku, I'm sorry, but I can't, not while knowing that Mr. Aizawa has no backup whatsoever. Mineta, what? Wait, don't tell me you're planning to go and help him. Izuku, yeah, I am. Izuku sprinted away from the group without looking back at their frightened expressions. In a landslide zone. Shoka, so your plan was to scatter us and then kill us. You were woefully unprepared. In fact, it looks to me you have no training. You haven't the slightest idea of how to use your quirks, she said while letting out an icy breath due to freezing every single villain in front of her. Shoka began walking past them as they spoke. Villain, this power, she froze us the instant we warped here. She's not a kid, she's a monster. Villain 2, so cold. Recalling the villain's words, she desired to know how they would kill All Might. Shoka thoughts. How do they plan to kill All Might? At first, I thought they had gathered a force of elite criminals. Villain 3, Gra. A villain charged from her front and back, but she simply sighed, stepped, freezing the one in the front, and froze the other by grabbing his blade. Shoka thoughts. But that can't possibly be his master plan. Most of these villains are low-level thugs, just pawns. From what I can tell, there are only 4 or 5 truly dangerous people here. If that's the case, then what we need right now is more information. Shoka, listen well. If you stay frozen, your cells will slowly die as you succumb to frostbite and hyperthermia. Lucky for you, I want to be a hero, so I'd like to avoid any unnecessary cruelty, but I can only do that if you tell me how you plan to kill All Might. That's your only way to survive," she said, raising her hand in front of Villain's face to scare him. In a mountain zone, Momo, Jiru, Kaminari, Izumi, and Katsumi stood back to back defending themselves, except for Kaminari. Kaminari. Oh, what the hell, my whole life just flashed before my eyes. It's like I just saw the Grim Reaper. What's going on? Jiro, could you maybe take it down 2 notches? Momo, we need to focus on getting away from these enemies. Kaminari, then pull out a weapon for me, too. Jiro, you're the one with electrical powers, just zap them. Kaminari, did you ignore me when I told you about my quirk in the combat training? I can cover myself in electricity, but if I shoot it, then it will cover everything around here. And do you really want that? And my communication is cut off from everyone. I'm counting on you too. I'm no help here. You gotta get us out of here, please. He shouted, giving them a thumbs up. Izumi gra. The two turned to see Izumi using her telekinesis to send 3 of the villains around her flying. Jiro. Gee, she's a real you. Suddenly another villain came to punch Kaminari, but he jumped back only to have Jiro kick him back at the guy, become my new stun gun. Seriously, Kaminari complained, bumping into the villain, shocking him. Kaminari, whoa. Hey, this is working. I'm super strong. Sit back, you two. Leave this to me, ladies. Jiro, you are exhausting. Jiro flinched and looked ahead at the villain coming at her, holding a large rock. You won't be crushing rocks, kid. He shouted, tossing a rock at her, when Izumi raised her hands in front of the rock, stopping it, and causing the villain to slam his fist into Kaminari, getting electrified as well. Jiro, thanks. Izumi ignored her when another villain then jumped up to come down and stab Kaminari. Fortunately, Momo threw a net, capturing him and causing him to touch the electricity, getting shocked. Nice work, shouted Kaminari. Momo, you're lucky that worked out so well. Jiro, I'm sorry, next time I'll ask before I save our butts. As Kaminari continued shocking the villains, Yaoyorozu had finished with her plan. Momo, it's ready. It takes time to make something this big, she said, leaning over when a large blanket burst out her back, covering herself, and Jiro making the villains mock her, thinking she was trying to hide. Momo, Yagi, you might want to come under here. Izumi, fine. Izumi ran to Yaoyorozu and Jiro. Momo peeked from under the blanket with a smirk. You're looking at a sheet of insulation 100 millimeters thick. Go, Kaminari. Kaminari smirked. Heb, badass now. I don't need to worry about hurting my friends. You guys can get fried, he shouted, sending his electricity all around them, shocking the remaining villains. Momo, now, but then I'm worried about the rest of our class, she said, pulling the blanket off, and the smoke covered her melons, which were in the open. Jiro, thoughts? Yaoyorozu is so punk rock. She then saw Kaminari approaching. Kaminari, don't you dare, she shouted, hugging Momo to cover her melons, but Kaminari was now dumb. Kaminari, hee. None of them noticed the hand that burst out the ground behind them. No one's POV. Izuku arrived at the center of the USJ, hiding in the water and watching his teacher. Tsuyagi. Izuku, what are you guys doing here? Tsu, we couldn't let you come by yourself. Mineta. Oh no, here comes the boss. They turned to see Shigaraki charge at Aizawa. First, there was 3 seconds. Aizawa wrapped his scarf around himself and threw it at Shigaraki, who caught it. Then 10 seconds, Shigaraki pulled the cloth to him, causing Aizawa to get close, and then 20, he finished about to grab Aizawa's head when the pro elbowed him. But Shigaraki caught him, and Aizawa's hair came down. Shigaraki, it was hard to see when you were jumping around, but I figured it out. It's your hair. Aizawa's eyes widened, and his sleeve where Shigaraki was touching had decayed, nearly grabbing his elbow bone. But Aizawa quickly got out of there, jumping back. Despite his pain, Aizawa took down another 3 villains who attacked. Shigaraki. Despite being exhausted, you're still standing. Look at that, you really are so cool. Oh, by the way, here, I'm not the final boss. Aizawa turned to see the monster behind him raising its hand, and then his head was smashed against the ground, leaving blood to fly into the air. The 3 students watched as the monster smashed Aizawa's head against the ground over and over again. Izuku. No, Mr. Aizawa. At the entrance, Hirojiri was still being absorbed into black hole, stopping him from moving. Hirojiri. The quirk black hole, a powerful quirk's one sucks up matter and turns it to dust. It's incredible, however, you're a rescue heroes still failing to see the analysis you lack. He said, opening a warp gate behind 13 to absorb herself, causing 13 to be fatally wounded. Mina, 13. 13. I'm sorry everyone, please forgive me, she said before losing conscience. The class took action quickly and made sure Ida escaped, which made Kurojiri return to Shigaraki's side, so he could give him the bad news. Back with Izuku, the Nomu creature stood still when Kurojiri warped right next to Tamura and told him about the dilemma. Kurojiri, Tamura, one of the students managed to get away and is headed to Ue. We have to go now. Shigaraki, Kurojiri, how could you let this happen? If you weren't our escape route, I would have killed you by now. All right, let's go. Mineta cried happily. Did you hear that? The villains are about to leave soon. Sue, but why do I have a bad feeling, Karo? Shigaraki, but first let's destroy the symbol of peace's pride. In a flash of speed, Tamura jumped at Izuku's group and was about to touch Tsuya's face to disintegrate her. Tsuya's eyes dilated. Fear froze her heart and kept her still as all she saw was the hands of death approaching. Until the two then felt a gust of wind push against their back as Izuku lunged at Tamura, his boosted gear gem glowing brightly. Boost! Get away from her! Punching Shigaraki with all the power he had stored up. The punch created immensely high-pressured amounts of wind, blowing the residual villains along with some of the zones away. Once it stopped, Izuku was left standing in front of his friends, breathing heavily as his hand shook. Izuku thoughts. That must have blown him away. It was everything I had. Drake, Izuku, look out. The smoke dispersed to reveal the Nomu with its arm broken and a small amount of skin on its chest torn away, with Shigaraki behind it intact. Shigaraki, that's a pretty strong quirk you got there, kid, but not enough to beat Nomu, who has shock absorption. Unfortunately, you may become a problem in the future, so Nomu kill him. The Nomu regenerated the small amount of turned skin on his chest, as well as healed its arm before grabbing Izuku by his gauntlet and smashing his fist in his gut. Once more, the sound of his ribs shattering under the hit was heard by Mineta and Azui as Izuku was sent flying away into the rainforest area. Aizawa, no. Azui/Mineta. YGI. With Izuku. Izuku lied in a crater. His vital fluid surrounded him as he looked up at the roof. Izuku. Drake, cough, my entire body hurts so much and I can't breathe. Drake. I know, partner, but you need to rest. You're in no condition to fight. Izuku. I can't just stay here. They won't be able to beat that thing. It'll kill everyone here. Izuku recalled how kind his classmates were to him, and a tear fell down his cheeks. Izuku. Please help me save them. I'm so weak. If only I could be a little stronger. Drake, you there? He asked weakly. Drake. I'm here, partner. Rest now. You don't have the strength to keep on talking. Izuku. There's a way for me to gain the strength I need, isn't there? Drake. Izuku, why? Izuku. Isn't there? Drake. Yes, there is, but the price for it is dire. There will be no turning back, and there will be side effects. Are you sure you want to do this? Izuku. Yes, I want to save them all, so I will make the sacrifice. Drake. Understood. Shigaraki. He and another hero bites the dust. He turned his head to face Mineta, and to you who shook in fear, it's a good thing I still have time to kill you too as well. Mineta. Crying. So, Yagi sniff. Tears trickled down her cheeks as she accepted the incoming death. At the USJ entrance, the students watching what was happening beneath him were crying, realizing all hope had been lost. Uraraka. Dikairu. Mina. Midori. Shoji. Is this really it? Sato. This can't be it, can it? All thoughts. Someone please save us. Suddenly the door behind the students was smashed open and All Might entered the scene. All Might. Have no fear, because I am here. I had a bad feeling, so I decided to come here as fast as I could. When on my way, I spotted young Ida, who told me what was happening. Uraraka. All Might. Dikaru. They hit him very hard. Sniff. He might be dead. All my thoughts. What? Izuka may be dead. How late was I? Sigh. Thankfully Izumi wasn't harmed. All Might. Fear not, students, for I am here. Ripping his tie off, All Might dashed down towards the villains faster than they could see, beating them in one hit and in a single second before reaching Aizawa, who whose state angered him. All Might, forgive me, Aizawa, you had to deal with all this by yourself. Lifting the pro up, he dashed, grabbing Mineta and Tsu while knocking away Shigaraki's mask as he took the two students and moved away from the villains. Mineta, Hawa, Tsu, All Might Yagi he was. All Might, I know, but worry not, students, for now. You must take Aizawa and leave, he doesn't have much time. Mineta, yes, sir. Shigaraki walked to the hand on the floor to pick it up and place it back on his face. No, it wasn't supposed to go this way. He still fast farther somehow. He managed to hit me. Oh, of course a government hero relies on violence. I wasn't prepared. I couldn't even see him when he moved, but he's not as fast as I thought he would be, not as fast as he used to be. I guess it's true. After all Might really is getting weaker. All Might, that's enough out of you, villain. He dashed towards the villain Carolina. Villain Nomu. All Might, smash. He stretched his arms out, slashing the Nomu both left and right, splitting the water behind it. But the Noma didn't move an inch, shocking him before he had to dodge the Noma's hand about to grab him. All Might, guess he wasn't wrong when he said it had no effect on you. He then punched the Nomu in the chest, which still had no effect. Let's try this. He right-hooked the Nomu with little to no effect, and then left-hooked it, resulting in the same thing. The Nomu then tried grabbing All Might, who jumped back, dodging its hand. All Might, it doesn't matter where I punch you, does it? He asked, using his foot to stop himself when the Nomu appeared in front of him in an instant. All Might began sending blow after blow. Shigaraki, that's because Noma here has shock absorption. All Might, the only way you're going to hurt him is to slowly gouge out his flesh, of course. I don't think he's going to sit back and let you do that. You've finally met your match. All Might, thanks for telling me how to beat him. All I have to do is wear him down. The Nomu reached in trying to grab him by the face, but All Might ducked, once more going around the Nomu and wrapping his arms around its waist. All Might, then it's easy. He brought the Nomu into a German suplex, causing a massive explosion of dust. Shigaraki, hey now. Sato, oh yeah, take that bird brain. Sirowo, Sato, that's what you villains get for underestimating him. Mina and Uraraka smiled with tears in their eyes. Meanwhile, Mineta and Tsu, who were on their way to the USJ entrance, looked back at the fight area. Mineta, are you guys seeing this? That suplex was like a huge explosion. Get that guy. Punch him right in the nuts. Tsu, yeah, he was really cool, but I'm still worried about Yagi. When the smoke cleared, it revealed All Might gritting his teeth in agony, with vital fluid trickling down as the Nomus upper half appeared under his waist, with its fingers stabbing into All Might's sides. All Might, oh, come on. What kind of cheap move was that? Every student gasped in horror as the vital fluid seeped into All Might's shirt. Shigaraki, nice you were trying to bury him in the concrete, so he couldn't move around anymore, but sorry, that won't work. Noma's as strong as you are, that won't stop him. Nice work, Kirojiri, we've got him just where we want him now. Kirojiri began shrinking his warp gate as the Noma dug his fingers deeper into All Might. All Might thoughts, oh no, this monster found my weak spot. All Might let go of the Nomus lower half as the Nomu held him up while All Might tried removing the monster's grip. Got to stop him despite his power, he thought to himself in pain before turning over to Shigaraki. All Might, if this is your best, then you picked the wrong place to attack. You should just give up now. Shigaraki, hug Kirojiri. Kirojiri, normally I wouldn't want anything flooding the insides of my warp gates, but I'll make an exception for a hero as great as you. Since you're too fast to see with a human, Ainomu had to restrain you, and once he's pulled you low enough, I'm going to enjoy tearing you to pieces. He says, seeing himself ripping All Might in half when out of nowhere. Boom! Bakugo set an explosion of on Kurojira's side. Bakugo die. Gra! He grabbed the steel plate of Kurojira's neck and slammed him against the ground as ice crawled up Nomus' right half. All Might thoughts. He's frozen, that means Todoroki must be here. Shoka, one of your poorly trained thugs told me you're here to kill All Might. All Might thoughts. He controlled his quirk, so the ice stopped just before it reached my body. I think I can loosen this villain's grip now. He said, pulling Nomus' hands out his body and flipping next to Todoroki while holding his side in pain. Kirishima launched himself into the air, bring his arm down on Shigaraki, who jumped back, dodging. Kirishima. That was going to be cool. Katsuki smirked pridefully. Guess I found your body that time, you smoky guy. Shoka. The symbol of peace will not be defeated by delinquents like you. Mineta, Todoroki, and Bakugo. Sue, and Kirishima too. Let them handle it, let's go. Mineta, right? Uraraka. They're helping Huh, wait, is that Sue down there? Hey, we're up here. Uraraka said, staring down at the stairs. Sue, Ochako. Mineta, hey, can you come help us out? He's super heavy and bleeding all over the place. The students gasped at the sight of Aizawa and ran down. Come on, Sato, said, being followed by Uraraka. 13. Don't worry, All Might will take care of this. When the other teachers get here, it'll be dangerous, so find some other place to hide, she said weakly to Mina. Mina, okay. Back with the fight. Everyone stood frozen in place. Shigaraki. Kirojiri, how could you let this brat get the best of you? You've gotten us into a real jam here. Bakugo. You got careless, you dumb villain. It wasn't hard figuring you out. Only certain parts of you turn into that smoky warp gate. You used some of yourself to hide your Actal body as a kind of protection. That's why we missed. Bakugo. But if you didn't have a body, you wouldn't need this metal armor. You aren't immune to physical attacks if they're well aimed. Kirojiri tried escaping, only for Bakugo to let out a few tiny explosions, hurting him. Don't move. You try anything funny, and I'll blow you up. They'll be cleaning you up for weeks, he still said with a smile, while Kirishima's sweat dropped at that sentence. Kirishima. Oh, that doesn't sound very heroic. Shigaraki. They escaped uninjured and captured one of my two strongest men. Kids these days are amazing. They make the league look like a joke. Can't have that. Nomu. The Nomu pulled out the warp gate despite the ice shattering and removing his arm and leg, causing the students and All Might to gasp in shock. All Might, stay back, everybody. The Nomu stood up as the ice shattered and its limbs regenerated. All Might, what is this? I thought you said his power is shock absorption, he asked Shigaraki angrily. Shigaraki. I didn't say that was his only power. He also has super regeneration. Nomu has been modified to take you on even at 100% power. He's basically a highly efficient punching bag, except it fights back. Everyone got on guard. Shigaraki. First we need to free our method of escape. Get him, Nomu. The Nomu moved towards Bakugo at such high speeds that only All Might could see. The Nomu sent a punch at Bakugo. With all his strength, the pressure created was enough to send Kirishima and Todoroki flying, and whoever was punched had been dragged into the wall behind him. When the smoke dispersed, it revealed the Nomu with Kirojiri. Kirishima. Bakugo. Well, no way you dodged that, bro, he asked, shocked, seeing Bakugo next to him. Bakugo, what? No, shut it, stupid hair. Bakugo, thoughts. I didn't even see him move. When the smoke cleared, it revealed All Might crossing his arms, trying to protect himself, as he was the one who was hit by the Nomu. Shigaraki. So he protected the child, huh? All Might could barely breathe as vital fluid tricked down his mouth. All Might, these are children, and you didn't hold back, he asked angrily. Shigaraki. I didn't have much choice. He was threatening my companion. Besides that boy with the green hair, he managed to break the Nomu's arm with a single full-powered punch. Luckily, the Noma took care of him before he could become a threat. Honestly, it's surprising you don't seem to care about that kid. Why is that? Bakugo, thoughts. What Deku managed to break that thing's arm when All Might couldn't even scratch it, while that half and half managed to break half its body. I was chosen by All Might for one for all. I am the chosen one. I won't be beaten by some extras. All Might. Young Bakugo, no. Kirishima. Bakugo, get back here. Activating one for all. Bakugo blasted off straight at Nomu. If that loser Deku could hurt you, then I'll destroy you. The Nomu took the blow head on, tanking it like it was nothing. Die. He sent explosion after explosion at the Nomu, before removing the pin of his gauntlet, releasing his stored explosion. But when the smoke cleared, the Nomu came out and scathed and raging Bakugo. Bakugo, thoughts. What? F it. I don't care what this quirk will do to me. I'll kill you, you ugly monster. One for all, 20%. Bakugo, die. Bakugo was sent flying back, his right arm broken and smoking, but he had a smirk on his face filled with pride. Bakugo, thoughts. I broke my arm, but that makes it clear who's the strongest out of all these extras. Shigaraki. Haha, was that it? Noma break him. Shocking everyone when the smoke cleared, it revealed the Nomu, still and scathed. Bakugo's eyes widened, but before he could do anything, the Nomu rushed over to him, grabbing him by his arms and shattering them like twigs. Bakugo arc. He fell to the ground with tears in his eyes as he wailed on the floor in pain. All Might. Young Bakugo. All Might dashed to Bakugo, but Nomu had intercepted, punching him straight in his weak spot, causing him to vomit out before being sent skidding across the floor. All Might tried to get up, however, he ended up coughing out and fell back down, holding his side in agony. Shigaraki spread his arms to the side, looking at the students. Shigaraki. Now you see him for what he is. The great symbol of peace, the unbeatable All Might, squirming on the ground like a bug, and now you'll all die, too, ha 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 ha. Kirojeri. Shigaraki Tamura, I believe it is best we leave now. The pro heroes should be arriving any minute now. Shigaraki. Oh, you're right, and just when things are getting good, oh well. But before we leave, let's remove one more potential obstacle for our future. Nomu kill the girl. All Might no. He tried to get up, but could barely move as the Noma zoomed straight at Shoka, who took a step back, sending a glacier straight towards the Nomu, who shattered the ice like it's nothing, reaching her in a second, reeling its fist back. The Nomu prepared to strike. Class 1A, Todoroki. Todoroki's eyes widened as a single tear came down her cheek, fear overwhelming her body. Todoroki thoughts. No, not yet. Not like this, please, someone, anyone save me. Dragon shot. A blast of concentrated crimson energy blasted through the Noma's arms, tearing them apart and sending it flying back before. Arc Regulus. A massive lightning bolt carrying the sound of a roaring beast struck through the roof of the USJ, shocking the Nomu, causing it to roar in pain as the electricity burnt the skin off its shoulders and back. When the lightning stopped, it turned into Regulus behind Izuku, who stood a few feet behind Shigaraki. Izuku, it's a good thing I made in time. You aren't hurt, are you, Todoroki? Todoroki looked at Yagi, still left in shock. No, thank you, Yagi, Izuku nodded. Kirishima, Yagi, Uraraka, he's back. Mina, oh yeah, kick there, but Yagi. Izuku, your last hit hurt a lot, but now I'll return in full. Shigaraki, Grand Noma kill. Him. The Nomu regenerated its body and launched straight at Izuku. Drake, Welsh Dragon, over Blister. Izuku, Standing in Izuku's place was a crimson armor with 5 jade gemstones, 2 in one arm each, 2 in one leg each, and 1 large on in the center of the armor. The armor itself radiated incredible amounts of power. Izuku, come at me. Izuku and the Noma charged at each other. The two collided with their fists, sending enormous amounts of air pressure around the entire USJ and shattering the ground beneath them as they continued on, sending blow after blow against each other faster than the eye could see. Boost, 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 boost. The blows began getting so much stronger with each hit. The collision of each fist caused the entire facility to tremble under their might, not allowing anyone to get in close. Drake. Hurry, partner, we don't have time to waste. Izuku thoughts. Oh no, his regeneration, it's incredible, but even so I won't lose, not here, not now. Flashback. Izuku. There's a way for me to gain the strength I need, isn't there? Drake. Izuku, why? Izuku. There isn't there? Drake. Yes, there is, but the price for it is dire. There will be no turning back, and there will be side effects. Are you sure you want to do this? Izuku. Yes, I want to save them all, so I will make the sacrifice. Drake. Very well, what will you sacrifice? Izuku. What can I give to get the longest possible time? Drake. I can give you 2 minutes, however the price will be your heart. Are you willing to give that which you hold most dear for more power? Izuku. You're wrong, Drake, my heart isn't the most valuable thing I have. No, the most valuable thing I have is. End of flashback. Izuku, my friends. Izuku thoughts. Drake, how long do I have left, partner? Drake, you got 1 more minute before we go down, so what do you say? How's about we end this in a single hit, destroying it so badly, not even its ashes remain? Izuku, let's go. Boost, 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 boost. Izuku began overpowering the Nomu. Shigaraki, no, this is impossible. How are you doing this? The Nomu is stronger than All Might at 100%. Izuku, it may be created to destroy All Might at his strongest, but... Izuku grabbed the Nomu by its arms. Izuku, it can't compare to the might. Izuku threw the Nomu as high as he could into the air. Izuku, of the Red Dragon Emperor. Creating a dragon shot the size of a beach ball, Izuku launched it straight at the Nomu, causing it to rise through the ceiling of the USJ and into the clouds, disintegrating the monster within a massive ball of crimson energy, not even leaving its ashes. The attention of all the citizens in Mustafa, along with the pro-heroes, had been directed to the crimson skies. At shot, what was that? Midnight. The entire sky became red for a moment. Nizu, I'm not sure what that attack was, but it came directly from the USJ. Let's hurry. The teachers, along with Ida, all agreed and went as fast as they could towards the USJ. In the USJ, everyone was left staring up at the sky in shock. Shigaraki, no, this can't be. It's just not possible. How? How is it possible someone like you has that kind of power? He ran straight towards Izuku, about to grab his face, when Izuku grabbed him by his wrist, making him look directly into his eyes, revealing Drake's glare, causing Shigaraki to tremble in fear, his fears overflooding his senses so badly that he felt he couldn't breathe as Izuku lowered his head to glare directly at Shigaraki's soul. Izuku, this that is over. His voice cold and deadly, he shoved Shigaraki back, making him stumble and fall on his butt. Shigaraki, Kurogyri, get me out of here. Kurogyri, right away. Kurogyri dashed around Shigaraki, warping away as Izuku began trembling. Izuku thoughts. I did, it's over, we've won, thank God. Drake, rest well, partner, you've earned it. The balance breaker broke apart, revealing Izuku, who fell forward, hitting the ground unconscious. Kirishima, what was that? Todoroki, I'm not sure. All Might's mouth was wide open, shocked by the power his son displayed. All Might thoughts. No, this can't be. How did he become so powerful? He's become too dangerous. I must find out what this power of his is, and soon. He turned to look at the shocked Bakugo, who looked to be hyperventilating. Bakugo thoughts. Deka beat it. No, I know. How can this be possible? I'm not weaker than him. No, I'm not. The teachers from UA finally arrived after that and rescued the students who were scattered around the USJ. With more questions than answers, the teachers were left clueless of the incident which had taken place a few minutes ago. Meanwhile, outside the USJ, sitting on what remained of the dome, the ninja reported everything to Azazel. Azazel, incredible to think the new host of the Red Dragon Emperor reached this level of power within his first time ever using the balance breaker. Ha ha, it seems things will become a lot more interesting than we previously believed. In the underworld, Rias, what? Are you saying that someone used the balance breaker of the Red Dragon Emperor a few minutes ago? Surzex, yes. Rias and her peerage were once again in Surzek's office after hearing the recent news. Aquino, with all due respect, my lord, why didn't you track down where the energy signal came from? Surzex, we did, but my scout reported he was too late on arrival when he got to the location of the energy signal. Issei, are you kidding me? We had the location of Drake, and we were too late? Surzex, yes, I'm sorry, Issei. Issei, F it. My dreams of becoming the king are slipping even further away now. Kaneko, pervert. Zenobia, if you want Issei, we can now procreate, she said, preparing to unbutton her shirt. Issei, in no way. Rias, down boy. So there's no telling how long it'll take for another energy signature like that to come up, so let's head back to Kuo. Peerage, right. Surzex, I'll keep you updated. Goodbye, little sister. Rias and her peerage teleported away, leaving an empty silence in the office until the door opened and Milikas ran in. Milikas, farther now, can you play with me? Surzex, later. Milikas, leave me now, I have work to do. Milikas, but far the USA. Surzex, didn't you hear me? Out. Milikas ran out the room, crying. In an unknown bar. During all the questioning, Tamura was laying on a couch, clearly exhausted and a bit frustrated that they failed, but he was still smiling a bit. Unknown character. Tamura, you're back. Where's the Nomo I gave you? Shigaraki got up and turned to look at the small TV now on, and it showed a man with his face shadowed and hidden. Tamura, I'm sorry, sensei, but we lost it before All Might came to a kid with a strange quirk. He easily killed the Nomu, so we had to retreat. Unknown character. And you seem to be taking this loss. Well, why? Tamura, it's because I found a monster. He smiled gleefully. Unknown character. A monster, what do you mean? Tamura, it was the kid with a strange quirk that easily killed my Nomu. From the moment he stared at me in the eye, I could feel death coming and shook me to my core. After what Tamura said, the master was quiet, and behind him was the sound of someone chuckling. What a fine Tamura. So tell me, what do you want to do with the boy? Shigaraki smiled, and the man got the message, which caused him to smirk. I see. For now, we'll keep an eye out for this monster. Tamura nodded. He hanged up, and the TV turned off, leaving Shigaraki to lie down on the couch in the room. So, this was the end of this series. Stay tuned for next part of this series, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.